afternoon, everybody, and welcome into the Briton Sports Network. Jim Funderburg along with Jim Bellamy as we get ready to kick off the 2018 football season. We're at Defiance College here this afternoon, the home of the Yellow Jackets, and the Britons today, Jim, will come down and try to get things off to a good start after a year last year that they had their ups and their downs, 4-6 on the season. I'm sure Coach Rundle not happy. They're never happy when you only win 4 games in a season. But I think the coach is optimistic about where they're heading this year. Yeah, we had the fortune of watching one of the early, preseason scrimmages, and the offense was executing well. The defense also made some good stops, got a few turnovers. So you saw some very impressive things on both sides of the ball with the ones. And, this is a good test early in the season, making that hour 30, hour 40, 5-minute drive down to Defiance to Caressel Stadium to, see if those adjustments in the offseason worked. You have year number 2 with the quarterback now, but you do have some turnover on both sides of the ball, especially on the defensive line. Defensive side is the side that really has suffered the most, possibly, but also might be the biggest surprise of the year. We all remember Jose Rodriguez, our starting senior linebacker who had come back last year for his 5th year. I had 107 total tackles last year in the year, and how you replace that is almost impossible. Whenever you got a young man that can rack up that many tackles in a season, you just don't replace that. But then you look down the list. Jordan Carter is gone. Richard Anarot is gone. Okay, Dallas Reynolds is gone. Austin Lynn no longer on the team. All these guys graduated from last year. Hunter Shaw, Joe Fullerton, Nick Davenport, all of that front 7 influenced quite a bit by graduation from last year. But this year, some younger guys, some maybe quicker guys, some guys that are hungry, and I think the coach and his coaching staff both feel that they've got a group and a nucleus now that they can go and grow with. Yeah, and it's becoming, the greater trend in football is, you run more of a spread offense. You get the running backs coming out of the backfield going into maybe the slot. So you have to have a linebacker or perhaps a D lineman who is fast enough to go sideline to sideline. And to your point about turning over all those players, you bring in, freshmen, the freshmen who last year, now sophomores, a year in the system, stepping into more of a starting role. So you got to think a lot of those younger guys with maybe a little more speed. That's the way the high school game is going, and now therefore the way the college game is going. You get a little more speed maybe on the D line in the linebacker position, and then the secondary that comes up and run support and pass support. Now these linebackers are asked to cover running backs. They're asked to cover tight ends, and they need more sideline to sideline speed. So with that speed, it's going to be interesting to see how the game progresses and how the team progresses, but it is going to be a lot of fun to watch. It really is going to be a lot of fun to watch. One name that will not be in the lineup today but will be one of the anchors on that defensive front this year, Sean Kubit-Miller. Young fellow with a bit of an injury here, but it's not expected to be serious. They expect Sean back here shortly, but he will not play today. He is here with them because he is one of the team captains, and as we talked to the coaching staff before the football game today, they said, you know what, Sean's going where the team's going because that's the kind of fellow that he is. Now, you look at the that front of that football team this year, you've got some names that are familiar at least. Malik Bozell is still there. He'll be, they're going to actually this year a 3-4 instead of a 4-3, Jimmy, which are a 5-2 actually they played last year. So you're going with 3 guys up front. Malik Bozell will be one of them. Mitchell Aronson and David Akama will be the starters on that front side, with Sean Kubit-Miller sitting on the sideline just watching today. But they've gone to a young group of linebackers, and what we saw in the scrimmage that we saw, they do appear to be quicker. They do appear to be a little bit younger, and we'll talk a little bit about them as we go here this afternoon. But it should be a fun afternoon to watch at that point in time. Now, the coaches had their say-so in things here a week or so ago, and they decided that Trine University, the team that won everything last year, is their favorite here for this year. In fact, Trine is ranked in the top 20 right now, top 25. They're actually at number 20 here in D3 football at this point. But when you take a look at the way the coaches see it, Jim, it looks very familiar to where it was last year. Yeah, the Trine Thunder came in, and I remember that game we did against Trine where they came in, relatively unproven, playing the teams they'd played before they made the trip up to
to Albion, but boy, oh boy, did we see some serious action in that game. Trine Thunder looked impressive and rolled pretty much through the rest of that conference schedule. Hope is picked to be number 2. They got one first-place vote. And then you have Adrian, Olivet, and Albion sits there in the 5 spot, rounded out with Alma, Kazoo, and Finlandia. So, the early season, not a whole lot of conference action going on, but again, good test to see where this Britons team is. And then, once we get to that Trine game, the Britons will have a little bit of experience under their belt, and we'll see if they can improve on last year's performance.
Trine went 6-0 in the conference last year. They were 9-1 overall. They were 11-1 for the entire season, as they did get in the postseason and win their opening round in the NCAA tournament, and then were knocked out after one victory. Hope is a team that we're going to see at homecoming this year. They opened up everything last night, and that was an interesting ball game that they had. We'll talk a little bit about the schedule today and the scores from last night as we go. But you take a look here at the schedule that happened. Already they played 2 games actually on Thursday and a game last night. In the openers, Alma fell to Baldwin Wallace, who did get votes in D3 football as a top team in the country this year. They lost 63-21. Trine rolled past Manchester 55-7, another HCAC team in Manchester. And Hope lost a tough one to Milliken last night. Milliken, again, a team that got some votes in the preseason on D3 sports. They lost a tough one last night to Milliken 25-21. Several games, though, left for us today. A couple of them already started at 1 o'clock, Jim.
Yeah, we have Oberlin against Kalamazoo and Concordia, Wisconsin playing Finlandia. Those are 1 o'clock kickoffs, as you mentioned. The game you're watching now, Albion Defiance, will kick at about 1:30, so about 10 minutes from now or so. Adrian plays Ohio Northern tonight at 6 o'clock, and Olivet and Heidelberg round out the MIAA action at 7 o'clock kick. So games all day and all night. And we're excited to get this season going.
We really are. Again, Ohio Northern, another one of those teams that got votes in the D3 football preseason poll as one of the top teams in the country, so we'll keep an eye on how Adrian stacks up against them tonight. Today it is going to be a hot one, Jimmy. It is a beautiful day. It's not as hot as what it was a couple of weeks ago up here. Or down here for all of our Michigan followers.
Right.
But it is going to be a day that's going to be a warm one. The sun's out. There's a light breeze. It's blowing basically across the field. So from our right to our left, there's probably about a 10-mile-an-hour wind. Probably will not affect too much in this football game today, but the heat definitely will have some effect because it's going to be in the 80s today.
Yep, and unfortunately for you and I, none of that breeze seems to be making its way into the press box. So I don't think by looking at the flags atop the goalposts that very minimal breeze that's going out there is going to have any impact on special teams. So I expect the punts and the kickoffs to travel pretty much as far as they were going to before, and I don't anticipate that changing a whole lot today. So special teams I don't think will really be impacted. Neither will the passing game.
I don't think so either. Let's talk a little bit about the coaching situation for these two teams, because they couldn't be any farther apart right now. Defiance College comes into this ball game today with a brand new head coach. In fact, that fella has only been in their system for about 3 weeks right now. Talk about a fella who is maybe behind the 8 ball just a little bit with the hiring that he did. But Manny Matsakis has a wonderful history, and everybody around Defiance right now is hoping that he's the guy that's going to turn the program around.
Yeah, Matsakis comes to Defiance College with a pretty extensive football background, going all the way from high school to the NAIA, D3, Division II, FCS, FBS, and the Canadian Football League. And he starts this season, spent the last 3 years at D3's Widener University as the offensive coordinator and the director of academics. So talk about wearing multiple hats at a school. 2017 season was a 7-4 record and a berth in the Centennial Mac Bowl Championship. So again, Widener University and a 7-4 record last year. He was offensive coordinator for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, working closely with Mike Kelly and the Blue Bombers offense. Spent 3 seasons at Texas Tech, and also worked with under coach Mike Leach there. So, he's learned from some excellent coaches, a lot of energy in this coach. And, you know, again, only having been here for a short while, you can already see some of the impact. And, you know, you won't see it yet, but as soon as the Yellow Jackets make their way onto the field, you'll see one of the things, at least we noticed right away, is a little bit of change on the helmet.
Yeah, nothing on
Nothing
the helmet.
on the helmet now. Yeah, they used to have the logo on there, and now they are plain white helmets. So, again, it's just, you know, you talk about making an impact, things you can immediately control, and that's one of those things. Didn't like the decal? It's off the helmet. So, you know, you just wonder what kind of other things you see, you don't like, you say, all right, you know, we're changing that. The problem, though, is when you get into schematics, it takes a little while for those changes to implement.
No doubt about that.
So you can say, you know, I want to run this and I want to run that and I don't want to do that anymore. Well, that's, you know, in the seniors' case, 4 years of maybe doing things differently that now they have to all of a sudden change. So this will be an offense and a defense in flux probably for a couple weeks until the coach finally starts to really roll out the things that he wants and get all the players to buy into it.
And the good news, I guess, if you look at it that way, the coach has a large number of freshmen and sophomores on this team. Coach Rundle, on the other side, is starting his 22nd year, and he is zeroing in on several records in the MIAA record book. And we're going to get to that one here in just a moment, but I think we'll step aside for the national anthem, which is about to be played. Well, I think I might have enough time here. As far as most championships, Craig Rundle is in the number 3 hole, and we'll tease you with that one as we go down to the field for the national anthem here before the start of the football game.
Thank you.
And we're back here in Defiance on the Britons Network today, and let's get back to Coach Rundle, a 74 graduate of the Albion Britons, played football here in his 22nd year now, just starting that 22nd year. As far as most MIAA championships, Craig Rundle's in the number 3 hole right now with 7, just behind Pete Schmidt and Ray Smith. Schmidt, obviously an Albion legend, and Smith, a legend at Hope. As far as most MIAA wins, Coach Rundle now in the number 2 hole there. He's got 84 wins, tied with Dean Krebs from Hope, and he's trailing Ray Smith, who's number 1 with 91 wins. And finally, most seasons, Craig Rundle with 21 of them is chasing Ray Smith, who had 25 total. This year, number 22 from the coach. And why don't we hear from him right now? Let's have the coach set up the game for us here in Defiance.
Our non-league schedule this year will be different than we've had. We've got some new opponents that have rotated on. Some of our contracts were up with some of the other schools, so we're facing people that we haven't faced in the last few years. The 2018 Britons, I think, are going to be much improved. We had a great spring. Coach Mel, his addition in the weight room has helped us have a great off-season. Well, on offense, I think we have a great foundation. We have to improve in those areas, but we have some guys that have played in just about every position. It helps to have guys back there with experience, and both Kyle Thomas and Sam Landsey played last year. Doug Freeman had a great spring for us, and it was the best he's been since he's been here, so I think that's a good thing. And the offensive line, we're returning 4 out of the 5 guys that started. Chase Bouchard was a second-team All-League guy, last year, and Dan Barrett came back as a center, and he's been a great leader for us in the spring. And Elijah McKinney's really changed his body from being a 215-pound freshman. He's about 285 now. So we've got some good players, coming back. And then we just got to find some other guys. I think that's been the thing we've missed the most in the last 2 years, are game changers or playmakers on the outside or at wide receiver. And our defensive line, Sean Cubitt-Miller, is going to be a senior, has had a great offseason and a big impact player for us. Mike Harvey and Ray Robinson have both played corner for a couple of years. They're back. The more you do something, the more comfortable you get, and the better you perform. We sophomores now are going to be really good players as they proceed. Mitch Aronson and Dave Akama. And those guys were awesome in the spring, and I think they're going to be really good players for us as we move on. So we feel pretty good, with some of the guys we got coming back. We hope people can see from the stands that indicate success for us, or just commitment to get guys playing like they love what they're doing. It's not a job. They have a passion for football and Albion College, and then that's evident by the way that they compete, but also by the way that they treat their teammates. Getting back to the things that we need in terms of attitude and culture, and we kind of fell off the last couple of years in terms of guys forgetting the things they had to do to win, and I think we reestablished that this spring, and I think built some real good foundation for us to have a great year. And I think like anything else, once you get the ball rolling downhill, it kind of picks up momentum, and I think we're just getting started on some of that, and I look forward to even more improvements over the next few years.
Won the toss, but they elected to defer, so the Britons will be kicking off here to open everything up on this warm Saturday afternoon of football, and Andrew Fabre will kick things off. And Jimmy, it's hard to believe that he is a senior. We saw him when he was a freshman, and all of a sudden now he is a senior, and we'll get a chance to see him in his very final year of play.
I thought you were going to say, can't believe it's football season. Here we go.
Long kick goes back to 83. That's Kendall Bryant. He'll get it at the 10-yard line, cut up the left sideline, the big stick at the 25. He'll get across the 25 to about the 26. And who was that with the stick, Jimmy? Did you see?
Did not catch the number. We had a gang tackle right there, but again, one of those things that kind of reared its ugly head from last year as well. Good stick, kind of wrapped, but didn't bring down. Had to have a couple of helpers at the end. You want to be able to get that good stick and then wrap and stop.
Will Bartow, the gentleman that got the first hit, 43 there for the Britons here this afternoon. It'll start like this. Ryan Freeman will be the quarterback here this afternoon, and he will start under center to get things going. He has, I believe, Corey Bennett in the backfield, and he'll hand the football off to Bennett, and Bennett has some nice room off right guard. He's across the 35-yard line and almost enough for the first down as Bennett racks up 4 or 9 on that very first carry.
Nice carry right there, good cutback, and well, they're going to go ahead and give him a first down. It looked like the far side official was marked a yard shy of the first down at first. But it's a first down, Yellow Jackets, and a good run to start the game for Defiance.
Again, they open up in that single back look. Doubles to the top, doubles to the bottom, and they'll throw. And the completion to Dutch Blake, and Blake will have the ball right out to the midfield stripe.
There's a quarterback right there recognizing a gap in coverage. As you saw, linebacker close to the line of scrimmage. Tight end takes about 4 steps, nobody around him, no safety or corner help, and that's an easy pitch and catch and an advance up the field to midfield.
Freeman, a freshman out of Florida, under center again as he has a wide receiver in motion. They fake the handoff to the jet sweep, go back to their running back Bennett, and this time Bennett very unsuccessfully gets back to the line of scrimmage, and maybe we'll be ahead for a yard. For the Brits here this afternoon, it's Mitchell Aronson at one defensive end, Malik Bozell in the nose, David Akama in the other defensive end. Kamari Hurd is the outside linebacker, along with Quentin Jackson. Levi Ladd and Dominant Slates are the inside backers. Robinson, Schaefer, Padelt, and McIntyre are the secondary here this afternoon as we open things up with the Brits.
Slates had to stop on that last play.
Again, a little quick turnaround for about 7 yards. We'll set up the third down in a couple.
Jim. Kamari Hurd Jr., number 9, on the stop right there. But again, another soft spot in the defense as the tight ends and the wideouts are finding those little spots where the defense isn't picking up the player, and if you're not going to pick them up, sit down right there and give your quarterback an easy target.
Doubles top and bottom. Now they go to that eye look here. His quarterback again under center. He gets things going with a receiver in motion. They'll turn and hand the ball off to Corey Bennett in the middle of that defensive front there for our Britons.
No gain.
Gets really tough on 3rd down and 4.
That's the second time, Jim, they've faked the jet sweep and gone up the gut, and neither play has fooled the defense. And you're in that no man's land territory where the Jackets are going to roll the dice and go for it early. Too far to kick, too close to punt. And so they're going to go for it on a 4th and 2 early in the ballgame.
12:35 to play. Brits showed blitz, and then they'll back out of it. And now the quarterback, Freeman, will take a step backwards, kind of rethink some things, as he has 8 seconds, now 7 on the play clock. Jet sweep coming around the right end.
Did not get
right
it.
There. Dutch Blake was the young fella trying to get around the corner, but the Briton said, no thank you, sir. We saw that one coming. He'll lose a yard, and it'll be Brits football on their own 44-yard line as the offense will come onto the field for the first time this afternoon for the Britons here.
And that was number 26, Drew Schaefer, just zoning in on that right edge right there. Nobody picked him up, and he broke that play up. From the beginning, that one was going nowhere. Didn't allow him to cut outside, and he wrapped up when he made the stick. So beautiful stop right there. Good stand.
Kyle Thomas in his 2nd year, and he will throw on 1st down as he swings it out to Poore. Colin Poore will get dropped in the backfield. That one had trouble written all over it, and I'll tell you, the one young fellow you got to take advantage of, or you got to watch out for on this side, is Chris Keys and Jalen Neely, a couple of very quick defensive linebackers that got in the middle of that whole play right there and blew it all up. So the loss is about 8. It'll be 2nd down at about 18. Again to Poore in the flats, and Poore this time wrapped up and dropped by Cody Turner. For the Britons here this afternoon, their offensive line at left tackle, Jared Jones, Jordan Jembarski at left guard, Dan Barrett the center, Chase Beaujour at right guard, and Lige McKinney at right tackle as the Brits now face a 3rd down at about 14. Blanzy playing tight end. Will they go to him? They're going to go deep. That's Marlon Martin, and they throw the ball over his head and incomplete. And now both teams with a first series that kind of looked a little bit shaky, and we'll have to get rid of the football, and the Brits will have the opportunity now to kick this one away. And again, another young fellow that we have seen from the beginning, Sam Blanzy, the all-MIAA first-team punter from last year, will step on the field to kick this one away.
Defiance College, though, gets a couple of 1st downs on their drive, has a stall out. Britons, unfortunately, go 3 and out.
Nate Roberts is the young man that goes back deep here for Defiance College, but before the kick is made, Defiance takes a timeout on the field, and they want to talk about a couple things.
Interesting call right there, early timeout. Don't like to have that happen if you're Coach Matt Sakis, but it is what it is. I'll do a quick read, Jim, while we're on this break. Want to let people know to visit Albion this fall and discover why it is one of the nation's top-ranked liberal arts colleges. The deadline is Tuesday to register for the open house next Saturday. There are also open houses scheduled for October 6 and November 10. Visit albion.edu today to register for a fall open house.
Well, the Brits have it 4th down and 14, and they will be kicking from their 39-yard line. They got the ball back on downs after Defiance started to get a drive going, and then the Brits defense stepped up and slowed them down. But the Brits went 3 and out after really a first play that was just blown up by the Defiance College defense.
And again, that was Chris Keys, you mentioned, number 9, plays off the right edge and got right in there on the quarterback and made life miserable.
Blanzy from about the 28-yard line,
kick.
A high kick that Roberts will fair catch, and then he lost it and fell on it at about the 18-yard line. So the Defiance will have the ball at the 18, 1st down and 10.
Not sure if you caught that or not, too, but while the player was getting ready to catch, the official blew the whistle.
Yeah, he did.
Before the ball was even caught, and then he started waving his hands, and it's early season jitters for everybody right there. But with that fumble, that would have been a live ball regardless of the official's whistle, I believe.
Everybody's kind of working the bugs out here early in the football game, including us and everybody else. And again, Ryan Freeman back on the field. This time he'll line up in a shotgun look with doubles, in fact triples now to the visiting side, and a single wide receiver here to the bottom side.
Got a blitz coming in, picked
Santora. Brits shuffle him out of the backfield, back up to the 20-yard line, so he'll pick up about a yard on that play. It's Mitchell Aronson that makes the tackle. Almost got the sack or the tackle for loss.
Got a gain of 1 on that play. Freeman still 2 of 2 for 19 yards. But that play was going nowhere, and he's fortunate that that ball wasn't stripped.
Santora and Bryant are the 2 receivers here on our side, 2 to the top, and they will bring 1 in motion. And here comes that jet sweep around the home side, and the Brits aren't having any of that. Couple-yard pickup for the running back. Brandon hits.
Get him out to about the 24-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and about 6. As we're at 10 minutes, 30 seconds to play. Quarter number 1, opening game of the Britons football season 2018.
Hits and Dutch Blake to the top of your screen now.
As we have to cover up those tight ends running those short routes.
Plenty of time, almost picked off. I'll tell you what, that one kind of floated out, and Drew Schaefer's eyes got real big because he thought maybe this was his chance to take one to the house early on in this football season. Instead, he deflects the pass out of bounds. That'll set up 4th down on the bunch, and the Brits about ready to get the football back.
Got that one off the fingertips right there, and you're right, Jim. He got the meat of the hand on that ball. I think he would have made that one-handed catch, and he'd be tiptoeing right into the end zone.
Rayshawn Robinson back. Oh, they're going to fake this one. Brits all over him. They're blowing up this fake punt, and at the 26-yard line, they will be 3 yards short. Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Matt Sakis rolling the dice early here, hoping to catch the Brits sleeping, but instead he sets up the Brits offense wonderfully at the 26-yard line. We'll take that one all day long, Jim.
Absolutely. Questionable call right there, and, again, that's why it's gambling. You know? I mean, if it works, you're a genius. If not, then the other team benefits greatly from it. And in this case, the Britons defense was not fooled, made an excellent stop after a short gain, and takes over just outside the red zone with 10:05 to play, quarter 1.
And again, the Brits offense on the field. Everybody stretched wide out. They'll turn around, fake the handoff. Thomas will keep this one around right end. He's got room, gets a block inside the 10, close to the 7-yard line before Kyle Thomas goes down. Looked almost like Thomas was going to strut his way into the end zone after the defense on Defiance really had a few problems figuring out exactly what was going on. 1st down and goal now for the Brits.
Best part of that play right there was Thomas waiting for the running back to get on block and just decided, I'm just going to
I'm going to do it anyway.
Dive bomb right into this gap here.
They hand the ball off to Freeman this time. He'll muscle his way up the front of the line down to about the 2-yard line off the left guard.
2nd and goal from the 2, 9:35 and counting, quarter number 1, and a golden opportunity here after a failed 4th down fake punt. Sets the Britons up with excellent starting field position.
Martin Canfield, Poor, and Blanzy, the wide receivers here, and they've got 2 here on the home side and a single receiver to the top. Freeman again, the running back in the backfield. Thomas in the pistol, looking to throw in the corner, and that one thrown a little too far. We've got a flag down, but maybe a holding or an offside call.
I think it's an offside. You had, I think, the nose jumping in, trying to time the snap right there. So if that's the case, it'll give them half the distance, and they'll replay the down.
Wasn't sure where it was thrown. It was thrown basically wide on the Briton side of that hash mark on the far side of the field, whether maybe one of our receivers was held trying to get to the corner of the end zone, but it's going to be an offside call.
So that'll again be half the distance.
And the Brits will go from the 3 to about the 1.5. It'll be 2nd down now and goal for the Britons, who are looking to put the first score of the afternoon on the scoreboard here in Defiance.
And that penalty really doesn't do a whole lot other than give them an extra down because, you're moving the ball, maybe a sneeze.
Thomas
might have been
turns
another
around,
offsides.
Hands it to Freeman, and Freeman has nothing but wide open spaces around the right end. There is Laundry at the goal line. But again, I think you're right, Jimmy. Offside Defiance will be declined, and the Brits have their first score of the afternoon, a 1.5-yard touchdown run by Doug Freeman, his first of the year. There you go. You see the replay on that, and you see the Easy touchdown there. Nobody really out there, Jim, at all.
And really, again, it's that offsides again, trying to time the snap, trying to get in there and break up the middle to force the running back to cut outside. Two problems with that. Number one, you mistime the snaps, you get the penalty, so it's basically a free play. But number two, that confusion that's caused in the middle by going after and timing that kind of messes up the rest of the defensive front. It allows him to cut it out right, and he really went unscathed into the end zone for the first touchdown of the Britons' 2018 football campaign.
Fabry hits the extra point. It's 7-0 good guys here from the very warm Defiance, Ohio on a Saturday afternoon. Good to have you with us here today. Halftime today, we're going to get a little insight from an old buddy of ours, Lynn Grohl.
Who
Works with the Defiance Crescent down here, and I thought maybe people would be interested to just hear a little bit more about this football coach that is here. And Lynn follows basically college football on the D3 side, so we can also talk about the MIAA, which is something I want to do as well at halftime, and get his insight because he keeps a close eye on teams like Adrian and Albion and Hope and all these folks, and I think we'll have a good time chatting D3 football with our old buddy Lynn here at halftime today. So the Britons are up 7-0, 9:05 to play in the football game, and they will be kicking everything back off.
Want to remind folks watching at home or wherever you are around the world, send us an email, webcast@albion.edu. Let us know you're watching. Let us know where you are. And if you want to give a shout out, let us know that too. We greatly appreciate you tuning in and staying connected.
Roberts deep. He'll take this thing on the 5-yard line. Take a step behind the 5, and now he's up the Defiance sideline. 25-yard line, 27-yard line, almost the 28 before the Brits finally tumble him out of bounds right in front of the other purple members of his team. Levi Ladd, the young fellow with the tackle here for the Brits, along with Jacob Clark. And the Defiance Yellow Jackets will have it for their third time here this afternoon.
Good blocking by special teams right there for Defiance. Jim gave him a nice easy ride up the right sideline there, the home sideline.
Actually give him the 31-yard line, so a nice run. Ryan Freeman back in there. They had a quarterback last year. His name was Ryan Myko, and we expected to see him some this afternoon, but so far, Myko, who kind of got here late this year, what we're being told is not on the football field. Again, that jet sweep. Around the corner goes Dutch Blake, and Blake will get a couple before he gets knocked down up on the corner by Kimari Hurd.
Again, the benefit of playing a 3-4 is, in theory, you'd like to think that those down linemen or those the linebackers, off the line of scrimmage should be able to seal those edges. So, it's going to be incumbent on the tight ends and wide receivers to get the good blocks outside to open up those edges for them to run. But so far, the Britons have done a good job not allowing it.
When we get a minute, we'll give you an idea how young this team is for Defiance College. The quarterback is a freshman. The handoff goes to Corey Bennett, who is a senior from Tampa, Florida, and he gets a couple yards, tough yards, right up the middle of the field. Santoro, one of their wide receivers, is a junior. As we said, Freeman, a freshman. Myko, the other quarterback, is a sophomore. DeMarcus Cummings is a freshman, along with Brandon Hicks. And Dutch Blake is a freshman as well. So as you take a look at their skilled positions, they have 3 freshmen that are going to get an awful lot of time here this afternoon against this defense from the Britons that are really looking to pin their ears back and hit somebody today. Quick little pass won't be caught. And again, that one intended for Brandon Hicks, but Hicks, who's the freshman out of Shelby Township, Michigan, took a lick and couldn't hang on to that football.
Those are what we call in the business adjustments right there, Big Jim.
Yeah.
You got burned a couple times on that first drive by that quick pass, and all of a sudden now there's a defender right on that player when he catches those short passes. So all of a sudden those soft gaps in the zone are no longer there, or if they are, they're not going anywhere after the catch.
I think Slates was the young fellow that put the lick on him.
Going for it again on 4th down. 4th
down and 5. The pass is complete at the 40. A missed tackle will give Jason Santora enough for a first down as he'll cross the 45. I don't think that they really caught the Brits sleeping at that point in time, but sort of Santora with a nice little juke move there to get open, to get the extra yardage. A tackle where he caught that football would have left them a yard or so short and given the ball back to the Britons.
Extending the drive right there again, going for it on 4th down.
Santora again on this side right in front of us, and he's running hard. Brits all over the backfield, and the quarterback will finally go down, Ryan Freeman. Freeman able to stand the initial push, I think, by Mitchell Aronson, but he had a little bit of help back there with him, and between he and Tyler George, they took care of the quarterback for a loss of about 9 yards.
Just under 7 to play, quarter number 1. Second consecutive drive. The Yellow Jackets have gone for it on 4th down. This time they were successful. Last time they were not, which gave the Britons excellent starting field position, and they took full advantage.
They'll make it 2nd down and 17 as this pass is behind the intended receiver, Dutch Blake. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I'm not sure exactly why that flag came out.
Defenseless player.
Yeah, I guess so, but goodness, I'm guessing. That's what they're going to call it. There's no doubt about that. Ball thrown where it could not have been caught by Dutch Blake. And then a shot to the rib section drew 2 flags right around the 40-yard line of the Britons.
And it was awfully close, but again, player safety.
Knocked the helmet off it, and I think that hurt. That made it look a little worse than what it was. But the penalty will give the ball back to Defiance, 1st down, and move it into Britons territory as they'll cross the 50 and place it on the Britons 44-yard line, 1st down and 10.
You're absolutely right, though. The visual of seeing the helmet come off at the end of that hit, I think if the helmet stays on, probably you don't even whistle that one.
It just looked a lot worse. It was a good hit.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. It was a good solid stick, which is what football is all about. But
and it was a clean hit, too.
It was a clean hit. It wasn't towards the head or anything like that. I think it was, again, the defenseless player. He couldn't get the ball. He was kind of laid out in a little weird way as the dive play goes for about 5 right off the left side by, I think that was Cadmus that had that ball, 22. It was either he or Bennett.
Quentin Jackson on the tackle.
And the Britons allow 5 yards on the 1st down carry. It'll be 2nd down now and about 6.
Want to say hi to Jeff Carrier, sitting all along the Briton press box, enjoying your call on my imaginary field and getting excited for an early lead. Jeff, thank you so much.
Looking forward to seeing Jeff next week in the press box when the Britons open up next week with Franklin at home. This time the run and play snuffed out, no place to go, as Quentin Jackson right there to slow things down. And I'll tell you, the push in the interior of that defensive line for the Brits slowed everything up, and Freeman had no place to go. Jackson came around the corner with good speed, wrapped him up and threw him down. 5:44 to play here in the 1st quarter. Britons up 7-0 if you're just joining us here on the Briton Sports Network. Great to have you with us. We're looking forward to a great year of football here for the Britons. Under center again goes the quarterback, Ryan Freeman. Bennett in his backfield. Freeman will draw play to Freeman. Freeman breaks a couple tackles, and he'll have enough for the 1st down because of those misses, as he'll be all the way to the 35-yard line and then falls forward maybe to the 34. Yeah, that is one thing that has was a problem with us last year. It's early this year, but they've had a couple of tackles that they've kind of run through just like that, as you notice. 3 or 4 Brits just standing there without a handful of purple jersey makes it a little bit difficult.
I watched 78 at the end here.
Yeah.
The whistle had already blown, so if a defender comes in and hits after the whistle, it's a bad thing. First, the offensive linemen, always seem to get away with it a little bit.
1st and 10 on the Brits' 30-yard line. And the Britons this time come piling through. The ball's loose, but they're going to whistle the quarterback down. Wow, Tyler George, the senior out of Homer, Michigan, came blowing through the middle of that line, and before Freeman really even got set and was able to stick the ball out to hand it to anybody, he was on his way to the carpet.
As you see on the replay, quarterback goes to turn around and hand the ball to a running back who went the opposite direction. So he's left with the thought that we all have at one point or another in our lives when our eyes get as big as saucers and we say those 2 magic words that mean things aren't going as we had intended.
And the first one's always O, that's for sure.
That's exact. And then you can imagine the rest. So yeah, missed opportunity for the Jackets, but excellent job of defensive push right there by the Britons to get that stop.
Defiance defense calls its 2nd time out here of the 1st half. And so why don't we take a minute and let some folks know what's going on around the area here. Let's see if we can get up on the MIA and see if there's any more scores up there. Obviously, if you didn't hear, Baldwin Wallace beat Alma 63-21 on Thursday. Tryon rolled over Manchester 55-7. Milliken over Hope 25-21 last night. Trying to get some live stats right now with that Oberlin-Kalamazoo game.
And Jim, while you're looking up those stats on the MIAA website, I'll let people know the Briton volleyball team is playing its opening matches of the season in Chicago this weekend. Join the Britons Wednesday night at 6:30 for the home opener against Defiance College. And also the Albion women's soccer team is in Pella, Iowa today to kick off the season against Central College. Come out to Alumni Field this Wednesday at 5 o'clock for the home opener against Mount St. Joseph University out of Cincy. So you can go to GoBrits.com to get all of the fall sports information. And again, MIAA scores. Jim's looking those up. We'll be getting those updates to you throughout the contest.
Kalamazoo basically tied at 0 right now. No score yet in that ball game from what we're seeing between Kalamazoo and Oberlin College here. That's still late in the first quarter, so they've got to be farther than that. They started a half an hour ahead of us. Snap comes back. Here comes the blitz. Freeman has his screen set up. Brits find the running back, 24 Bennett, and drop him after he gets about a yard, maybe 2. And basically Kamari Hurd right there with the tackle, as that was a pickup of about 3 yards. And I think Defiance hoping maybe to take advantage of that strong rush that the Brits have been getting.
Letting them through.
With that screen pass.
You got to feel for Ryan Freeman right there, Jim. That play develops around the 35-yard line. He's tackled all the way back at the 50. So we talk about a young man running for his life right there, waiting for that screen to develop.
Freeman goes into the pistol this time, looking for some place to throw, and he'll go down the sideline. That's going to be picked off by the Brits.
Oh, he dropped it at the end. Hit the ground, dropped the ball.
Josh Padelt had that football down around the 2. Might be a good thing that it went that way. It's 4th down now and about 11 for Defiance.
Oh, they haven't kicked yet. They're too far out to try a field goal here. It'd be about a 48-yarder if they tried a field goal. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of field goal or punt attempts today, at least so far from what the Yellow Jackets have shown.
Jackets with the football, 4th down and 11. If the Brits can hold right here, they'll have better field position than if Padelt would have hung on to that football down at the 2. Snap goes back to the quarterback. He's looking still, running out of time. Here comes the Britons. He's going down, 46-yard line. Nice job by Mitchell Aronson to work his way through a whole lot of purple jerseys and then finally grab Ryan Freeman and toss him. But, boy, I'll tell you, the defensive secondary for the Britons did a wonderful job on that one.
That's a coverage sack if I've ever seen one. You can see the pursuit. Never give up, never give up. Excellent job by the Britons right there to get that push, and good pursuit by Mitchell Aronson, as you mentioned, the sophomore, really getting the push, and he's made quite a few memorable plays so far in quarter number 1, Jim.
Brits will go with trips this time to the visitors' sideline. Marlon Martin on our side, on this side, and Jeff and I are both smirking just a little bit because there's a little inside joke that goes with Marlon. But, boy, we're looking for a great season out of that young fellow this year. Handoff goes to the running back, Doug Freeman, and Freeman tries to pick his way through a bit of a hole, but only gets about a yard.
Steve Elliott, number 7, the junior from Cumming, Georgia, on the tackle right there, the strong safety coming up and run support.
Trips go to our side now. Colby Canfield, the only wide receiver here on the Briton sideline. Thomas looking that direction, and he's going to throw it deep. Canfield goes up, goes through his hands, a little bit too high, and will be incomplete.
Want to say hi to a few folks. Christopher Wilson. Actually, that's the email address, but it's Dalton Nagle watching in Lambertville, Michigan. He's got Brits fever.
Attaboy. That's what we like to hear. We got Brits fever, too, today. 3rd down and 9.
Jerry Miller sends us a note, says Kayzoo's in a rain delay, lightning.
Ah, there you go. That'll make
that's why there aren't any stats.
That's why things slowed down there in the first quarter. Thomas tosses. This one's on the money. He's got Colin Powell pours up the sideline and out of bounds. Boy, if we hit Colin Powell,
he wouldn't have any eligibility
I think
left.
Colin's a little bit older than that, isn't he? Huh? But I don't know how that went. As you watch this replay, how did this ball get through the defender's hands? Look at that.
Talk about concentration, though, too, Jim.
Poor with a nice job of pulling that one in, and then up the sideline he goes, and the Brits all of a sudden have great field position on the Defiance end. Here comes Freeman, round the left end. Steps out of a tackle, inside the 5 and inside the end zone, and the Brits have their second score of the afternoon.
As soon as he got down to the 5-yard line, Jim, he squared his body up and stopped dancing at that point. He just put his head down. Watch this at the 5. Straight down, shoulder down, textbook finish right there. Excellent run for the touch.
Jalen Neely, an all-HCAC conference linebacker, thought he had young Mr. Doug Freeman back around the 11-yard line. Freeman just stepped right out of that one and said, no thank you, I'm going to the end zone. 2:23 to play, extra point by Fabry on its way. And the Britons now up 14-0.
You know what? Wait a second on that one.
You know, Fabry has been so good. I mean, a second teamer last year. He hit 35 of 36 extra points for the Britons last year. And you remember back when he was a freshman, Jimmy, and that was somewhat of a crapshoot there early. Those freshman jitters, they tossed him right out of the field, and they said, okay, son, you're our field goal kicker, and you're our extra point kicker. And there were moments when you kind of sat there and held your breath. But, boy, as every year went through and completed, that young fellow just got better and better and better. And you almost want to say it's automatic, but it's not ever automatic in a game of football.
Well, what that pressure will do is it'll do one, especially as a freshman, you throw him in there and say, you're the guy, go.
Yep.
It'll do one of two things for you. It's either going to make you stronger and you're going to continue to go, or you're going to wilt under the pressure. And that young man has responded in the best possible way. He's missed some kicks. He's taken some lumps. I'm sure he's been hard on himself as well. But he's continued to get better and better and better. And now, like you said, it's almost automatic.
You really can't call anything automatic, but, boy, he's about as close as it gets right at this point in time. They'll kick this ball off deep. Caught at the 5-yard line and advanced to the 10, to the 20, and right there is where the real estate comes to the end of the road.
Good team tackle right there. Jacob Clark and Drew Schaefer, both 25 and 26. One going for the feet and one going for the finish.
So the Britons defense now back on out on the field. They've done a pretty nice job against this offense from Defiance College this afternoon.
Looking at individual defensive stats for the Brits, Jim. Ardenson, 2 tackles for loss, 21 yards lost, 4 total tackles on the game. McIntyre has 2. Kamari Hurd has 3. Camigo 2, but then Quentin Jackson, Jim, 6 tackles so far.
Jackson has been everywhere, and we talked a lot about that as far as what were they going to do to replace some of the guys that they had. Well, Quentin Jackson took over a pretty big number in 35. Okay,
I was going to say that. I thought that was the number, but I didn't want to say it. But must be something about that number that just automatically makes you, you have a GPS for the football, and you're just always there.
Laundry on the field right now. This time it'll go against Defiance College. And it will be
false start. Take them back 5 yards to the 15-yard line. And with 2:18 to play in quarter number 1, Brits 14-0 lead.
And it'll be first down now and about 15 for the Yellow Jackets from Defiance College. Again, a shotgun start here for Freeman. He drops back inside the 10, looking to throw across the middle. Britt saw it coming. Padel's going to get called for the interference. Well, I'll tell you, one more step and he'd have gone in front of him and had that one for a 6, but instead they kind of collided, and the interference call is going to give the ball back to Defiance College with a first down. Watch that replay again. Padel there just a little bit early.
And that does confirm the call.
Again, you can't really blame Josh Padel for that one. He was going for the pick.
Yep.
He saw it coming, and they just bumped into one another as he was running for that football. One more step, if he'd have been there a half a second before that, he'd have been in front of that receiver. And again, 25 yards later, he'd have been handed the ball over the official after the score was 20-0.
And that's such a tough thing for the defender, too, is, the defender is right for the football as well, and sometimes you have to go through the offensive player to get it.
Delayed handoff, and
2
again,
missed tackles.
This thing goes to Corey Bennett, and Bennett's able to sneak out of the backfield just a little bit. He would have lost about 5. He only lost a yard at the end of everything. Bennett, again, the senior for Tampa last year, he rushed for about 65 yards a game.
You saw Jim right on there on that play. Ballard, number 93, the freshman right there, had him on the arms and just didn't wrap up. Good evasion by the running back, too. I mean, you have to give credit where credit's due, but that's one where the arm tackling, as the season goes on, they're going to face some strong running backs, and arm tackling isn't going to work.
Here comes the pressure. The underneath route is completed to Santora, and Santora still on his feet across the midfield stripe and into Briton's territory.
Good pattern right there, and an excellent job of stepping out of a couple of different tackles. And again, wide open.
Rayshawn Robinson was the young fellow that made the tackle, but you can see
Look where Robinson has to come from to get him. He has to track him after he's gained about an extra 12, 15 yards.
A little drag route across the middle was wide open as everybody else went deep. And Santora is able to find his spot there and get up the football field for a first down and into Briton's territory. 1st and 10 now, Yellow Jackets at the 46-yard line of Albion. Minute and 4 seconds to play and counting here in quarter number 1 with the Brits up 2 touchdowns, 14-0. Blake in motion. And they hand him the football. They are intent on getting Blake that jet sweep and getting him out around that end, and this time he did for about 6.
Brought down by.
And you can't overcommit when you see him going, because the quarterback always on those jet sweeps has the option to keep right there, and if you're committing too much or overselling too much from the one end, that's going to open up somebody to just go out on a quick out route and leave them wide open. So it's a good chess match.
So it'll be 2nd down at about 4 here for Defiance College as they have the single running back in that eye look. Doubles to the top, doubles to the bottom. Last play probably of the first quarter as they'll send one in motion. And they'll hand it off to that running back, and he'll get Corey Bennett a couple of those yards that he's needing.
Excellent stop right there by Ackerman, number 95. Stepped out of the first tackle, but that second tackle absolutely stopped in his tracks.
That'll be the end of the first quarter, and it'll set up a 3rd down and about 2 for Defiance College as we will flip the ends of fields here and get ready for quarter number 2. One thing you got to remember here about this young fella, Corey Bennett. Bennett's only 5'8", 173 pounds. He is a senior out of Tampa, Florida. So you look at him, there's not a lot of him. But he is very elusive in the backfield. Some of these missed tackles you can't blame on just bad tackling on the Brit side. You've got to give credit to the young guy
elusive players
who has that ability to stop on a dime and change directions the way that he can.
Absolutely. We'll look at team stats at the end of quarter number 1. Jackets had 7 first downs compared to 4 for the Britons. 3rd down efficiency. Neither team really doing all that great. Defiance 1 of 5. Albion 1 of 2. Defiance has gone for 4th down 4 times, only converted once. 28 plays for 78 total yards for the Jackets, 58 through the air, and 20 on the ground for the Brits. 10 plays, 76 yards, 34 yards passing, 42 yards rushing. And really, Jim, the Britons' first touchdown set up by a questionable decision to punt deep in their own territory right there. Set them up with good starting field position. Second drive a little bit better, but again, it's the Jackets rolling the dice on 4th down, and Britain's defense stepping up when it needed to step up on 4th down, stopping them on 3 of those 4 4th down attempts.
No live stats coming out of Concordia today, so we don't know what Concordia and Finlandia are doing as this pass goes down the sideline and it's knocked away. Guess who? Rayshawn Robinson just absolutely covering that man right down that sideline. And no place to throw it to. Santora thought, holy smokes, I'm going to be open here, and Robinson said, nope. I'm kind of like your second skin right now. Watch me tip this thing away from you.
Yep. Didn't even get his head turned around to the last second, but more importantly, was step for step. Had the inside on him, and just turned around when he saw the eyes get a little bit bigger. And he had that moment to turn around, put the hand up, and knock it away. So, I mean, that's essentially what a shutdown corner does. And in this game, I think you're looking at Rayshawn being that kind of shutdown corner for the one option.
One of the best corners in the league, no doubt. So they took their shot on 3rd down and 2. And now at 4th down and 2, we have a whistle.
Got to be a false start. Nobody jumped into the lane.
A procedure call will go against Defiance. So instead of 4th down and short, we're going to set up a 4th down and 7. And again, a problem with the Yellow Jackets here this afternoon as well have been some of the miscues, just like the false start on this one, which will now set them up into a 4th down in a much tougher situation. And let's see if they will punt this one away.
Nope.
Coach Matsakis must not believe in punting the football here with his new team. Well, again, when you've only had a job for 3 weeks, it's difficult to get everything done that you want to. Throw's going to be almost picked off and then almost caught and incomplete.
And then almost picked off again. Everybody had a shot at that one, Jim.
Man, that was amazing. Watch this thing. Brits almost get to the quarterback.
They hit the quarterback right at his throw. Almost picked. Almost picked twice.
Daryl McIntyre was the first young fellow that had a shot at it. McIntyre is a 6-foot senior out of Detroit. And that was just a little too tall for him. But the turnover on downs will be the third time now this afternoon that has happened. And the Britons have great field position again at the 43-yard line, 1st down and 10.
A little cloud coverage over the top of us right now, so it might cool it down just a little bit. But, again, breeze not a factor today.
Double running backs in the backfield. Fake the ball to the back. Throw the football out on the flat to Servo, and Servo will be up close to midfield before they knock him down. Serzo with a nice catch and pickup of about 6.
And tackle made by number 10, Bo Barkley, the senior out of Fort Wayne, as the Britons go no huddle again, Jim.
Little different look with the two backs in the backfield. Freeman on the left side, Serzo on the right side, and this one thrown right into the hands of the linebacker. I don't know what happened to Thomas there. He had some pressure, and that ball just went right into the hands of number 11, Jalen Neal, or 9.
You'll see 97, Austin Parrish right here.
Here it comes.
Or 99, sorry, that's Calvin Williams. Hit him as he threw, but that ball, I think even without that hit, might have been some miscommunication. The receiver ran the go route right there, and he ran what looked to be like a curl route. Or he threw a curl route.
So the All-HCAC Conference linebacker Neely with the gift interception right in the middle of the football field, but a nice job again by the defensive end to put the pressure on Thomas here this afternoon. And the give back will give the Yellow Jackets some pretty good field position at the 45-yard line. 14-0. Britons. And this one, oh my gosh, man. Dutch Blake said, I thought I had it, I don't have it at all. And Blake, I think, took his eyes off it and was waiting for some sort of hit coming up to get him.
Or looking for where he was going to cut back right there. And, you know, that's that most dangerous thing with those high passes is if you're not thinking about the first act, you can't complete the second one. And that ball goes up in the air. It was almost intercepted on the deflection.
Freeman and Bennett in the backfield. Doubles to the top, doubles to the bottom. Freeman takes the snap, and here comes the rush. He's under all kinds of pressure, got it away, but it's a little bit too far. Boy, he had to throw that one in a hurry, and Dutch Blake didn't have a chance. Brits almost got over there to get a chance to go at it, but again, a good idea, I think, to stay away, because that's how we got caught for the one interference call, trying to get a little too aggressive.
But because the defender kind of pulled up on that one, that ball almost ended up getting caught. Had that receiver been looking for that ball when he was looking for it, the defender kind of pulled up right there, and the receiver had pretty much, you know, nothing but green turf in front of him had he seen it.
Triples to the top. Cummings, the only wide receiver right below us here. Freeman looks downfield. He's got heat in the backfield. He makes the connection, though, up the field to DeMarcus Cummings, the exact guy that we were talking about. Cummings will step out of bounds at the 40-yard line of the Britons for the first down.
Excellent job right there of hanging in the pocket by the quarterback despite facing intense pressure. Good push up front by the defense, but the secondary of the Britons giving up a 3rd and long right there to extend the drive.
1st and 10 now for Defiance College. Trying to put a drive together here to open up this second quarter. Here comes the Brits. Freeman with some time. This one again a little bit behind the intended receiver, Dutch Blake, and it will be incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
Just a little bit underthrown, and 26, Drew Schaefer in coverage right there, the sophomore. Good job closing on that ball, but a little bit underthrown.
You have to believe that with freshman quarterback coming in, a coach that just got here 3 weeks ago, the timing probably not as good as what you'd like to have it at this time of year.
Yep, give it time.
2nd down and 10 now. Just under 14 to play in the second quarter. Freeman, the right-hander, throws it out. Nice coverage that time by 43, Will Bartow. Bartow with some great effort there, and he was up against Dutch Blake. Blake, a pretty solid young fella. Blake at 6 foot tall. He's out of Pontiac, Michigan, another one of those freshmen.
Bartow, the freshman himself right there, saw that quick out, stepped in, put his left hand on the side, not enough to turn the receiver, and reached over with that right hand and swatted that down. Beautiful defense by the linebacker.
Got a timeout here on the field. Must be an equipment problem here somehow, I would believe.
Allows more substitutions.
Quentin Jackson is the young guy that was the one in question there, and he heads to the sideline.
And you got to think it's 4-down territory regardless. So
it's always 4-down territory for the Yellow Jackets, right? Isn't that what we've seen so far?
So if Jackson steps off for a play, hopefully he's back if it brings up a 4th down. But now the defense has to hold. 3rd down and 10.
Here comes the heat. Freeman stands in the pocket and delivers a ball on the bounce.
Might have been deflected.
Again, good heat, I think, by Mitchell Aronson. We wondered a little bit about this group here this year, but between Tyler George, Mitchell Aronson, and Malik Bozell so far, and David Akama, I mean, those 4 guys, we've called their name quite a bit here early in this football game. So the guys we lost last year, and there were a bunch of them on that front, have been adequately replaced here, at least the first part of week number 1.
And they're bringing the 3 intangibles that you need. Strong, fast, good technique. This allows them to get past the offensive line and get in the quarterback's face all day.
4th down now and 10. Freeman drops. He's going to throw this one long. He's going for the big one, and he's got him. Down into the end zone goes Jason Santora as he gets behind the coverage down around the 5-yard line, and Freeman led him perfectly. Caught him right in stride at the 2. And the Yellow Jackets are on the scoreboard for the first time this year. Nice job by the top there to knock him down.
Good concentration by the receiver right there.
And it was Drew Schaefer that basically was a step too late. As the Yellow Jackets get their first score of the season.
Kicker Henry Brown.
Yeah, I think they've changed some numbers. That's what I've been doing with this team here today, because they sent us numbers over, and now we've got some new numbers today, which has caused us to look a little bit, and we've got to delay a game here against the Jackets. It's going to make Mr. Brown have to kick this one from 5 yards farther out.
Celebrated a little too long, I think, on that touchdown right there.
Defiance.
Cost him 5, moved it back to about the 7-yard line. Make it about a 25-yard extra point attempt. Still closer than what the pros are.
So from the 15, this will be 25 yards, as you say, for the extra point. The kick is low and wide. It hits the upright on the left side and comes back and will be no good. So at 13:37 to play in quarter number 2, the Jackets have gotten themselves on the scoreboard here, but the Britons still on top, 14-6 here on the Briton Sports Network.
I want to remind folks again, if you're tuning in up in Albion or wherever you are around the country, around the world, send us an email, webcast@albion.edu. And as you've seen from the messages we've received so far, we will say hi to you. We appreciate everybody checking in, letting us know what year you graduated. If you're a former player, let us know what year you played. And anybody you want to say hi to, we'll do our best to get all those in. So webcast@albion.edu, and we'll get you some stats and some scores here momentarily.
And again, 2 ball games coming up later on this afternoon in the MIAA. Adrian and Ohio Northern, and Olivet and Heidelberg will hook up. Adrian, Ohio Northern at 6 tonight, Olivet and Heidelberg at 7. And the last word that we received from one of our listeners here says that Oberlin and Kalamazoo were in a lightning delay, and Concordia and Finlandia, the newest member of the MIAA, basically no stats coming out of Concordia here this afternoon early on. Marlon Martin will go back deep to help return this kick here this first time, along with Isaiah Gibson. Gibson will be on the visitor side, on the Brit side. Martin here on the home side, back around the 10-yard line.
Short kick. This one might go out of bounds.
Fair caught at the 30-yard line, 29-yard line. Well, I'll tell you what.
As short a kick as that was, you can't afford to let it almost go out of bounds, because that's a live ball. So good job calling that fair catch right there and just stopping it right where it is. Yep.
Kimari Hurd, very not accustomed to handling the football that much. He was looking to lay a lick there, and yeah, you're right, Jimmy. A good idea to pull that one in at the 28-yard line. It will be Britain's football, and they need to get some offense going here right now.
They need a sustained drive.
They really do. Up 14-6, but it's time to now start putting a little distance between us and these young fellows from the HCAC. Turn, and the handoff goes to Doug Freeman, and Freeman finds the running a little difficult right up the middle of the field. He'll get a couple across the 30 to the 31.
Brought down by Kelvin Williams.
Jim, if you're in Albion, check out the Briton's men's soccer team today. They're scheduled for a 4:30 kickoff against Lawrence University at Alumni Field. That's today at 4:30, Briton's men's soccer.
And before the snap, the Britons a little anxious there. I think they fired out, and that'll cost the Brits 5 yards. Wipe out that 3-yard gain on first down, and it'll set up a second down now at about 12.
5-yard penalty remains, second down.
Definitely need to give that defense a breather, though. Going to need a nice sustained drive. Like to see them run a nice 5-6 minute drive, put a touchdown on the board.
Servo and Freeman, the running backs in the backfield. Thomas will fake the servo and throw the ball back to on the inside to Markel McCoy, and McCoy will get back to what was the line of scrimmage before the penalty as he crosses the 30 to the 31-yard line, but that now will set up third down now and 7 instead of second down and 7, and Albion needs to keep these chains moving.
Yep, and that's the one potential peril to running a no-huddle offense. If you go 3 and out, defense isn't on the sideline very long.
Thomas has a wide open center of the field, and he'll get the first down as he cuts towards the sideline across the 40 and out of bounds at the 45. Everybody went deep. Thomas had good protection in the pocket, and as you'll notice right now, he saw what we saw. Nobody's open down the field, but look how much room I got before that first purple shirt.
See him fake that linebacker right there, 32. And 32's Cody Brown, and the senior kind of got wrong-footed right there. Gave him the first down.
First down and 10, Brits. Thomas, the quarterback, looking to throw down the left sideline. He's got his guy with a nice catch. I'll tell you what, that was a beautiful throw, and I think that's his little brother. Isn't that one there? Yep. Justin Thomas with the catch deep inside Defiance territory. And how many times have they done that in the backyard,
I was just going to say, we're probably telling him in the huddle, if you drop it, I'm never throwing to you again.
So Kyle Thomas, the sophomore, throws to Justin Thomas's little brother, the freshman, for the big pickup on first down. Here comes some heat, but Thomas will get away. Throws across the middle of the field, and I'll tell you, wanted Marlon Martin to just keep his route going up the field, and Martin stopped, and that one almost got intercepted because of it. Martin was just standing there with his hands up. If he'd have taken 3 more steps, I'd have hit him in stride, and he might have gone to the end zone.
Might be a personal foul right here.
Flag back around the 35-yard line.
I think we had wishful thinking on
there you go.
On Kyle's part, because he was looking over at the sideline saying, "Oh, roughing the passer."
Holding will go against the Brits. You know they'll take this one. You would think they're going to take this one, but they've done things a little bit differently from as far as
going against the grain. Yeah. Hey, if you really want to roll the dice, you decline the penalty.
Take the down, but I got to believe it's going to be 1st and 20 here in a minute.
Yep.
12:01 to play in this first half. Britain's football now will be marked at the 37-yard line.
Going forward on 4th down's one thing. Turning away, setting them back 10 yards. I think you still take that regardless.
Martin is the wide receiver here on this side, and let's see if they can't get Marlon open here. Offset eye look here for the Brits.
Showing blitz.
Fake the handoff. Here comes the blitz. Nice toss and catch. And I'll tell you, if you want to, I think that was Blanzy that pulled it in.
Yes.
And he got popped in the head. No, in fact, it was 85. It brought that one in, and I'm not sure.
Kevin Cordy.
There you go.
6'3", 190.
Boy, he took a hit right to the chin on that one. I was waiting for the flag to come out on that one. No call, but a nice job and nice concentration.
Ran over him.
Freeman trucking his way down the left sideline.
That was the same
inside
player.
the 15 to the 14.
Steve Elliott right there, who made the last hit. That time got run over. So
first down, Albion.
A little bit of karmic payback for the Britons right there.
Brits again in that offset eye look. Turn, fake to Freeman. Thomas going to keep it. He'll have a short pickup. The ball comes out, but he'd hit the ground by the time it popped out, and he'll be marked down around the 11-yard line.
Man, if they had snapped that ball about a half a second sooner, could have got offsides against the Jackets for sending out a player late right there. That was 21. That was Amador Miller, the sophomore, who was streaking out onto the field, and you see him still kind of wondering where he's supposed to line up. He's lining up on the left side.
Brits have 2 tight ends now. Darius Case, 87, is the guy that's lined up on the wing over here on the right side. Blanzy in the slot. and then Marlon Martin, the wide receiver here on the home side. And Thomas on the top side, and brothers are going to try to hook up again, and they do. There's the first touchdown connection between the Thomas brothers as that little post pattern run by younger brother Justin Thomas finds himself wide open. You see the cut right there at the 2.
Yep, and he gave him way too much cushion. When you're playing essentially with your back to the goal line, you can't be standing in the end zone ready to come up. The goal line has to be like, this is the cutoff point, and I got to work up from there. Instead, he's 5 yards deep in the end zone, and, you know, jumping up, he's still crossing the goal line.
Extra point by Fabry is good, and he is 3 for 3 on the afternoon. And the Jackets now have a 15-point cushion, 21-6 here on the Briton Sports Network.
So excellent response right there, Jim, by Albion, putting that long drive together, picking up some key long yardage situations. That penalty, that holding penalty, didn't slow them down. And Thomas did an excellent job right there, using the legs to keep some of those plays alive.
And I'll tell you,
an excellent drive.
I'm going to give a big shout out to 85, Kevin Court. I'm not sure whether it's Court or Cordy with an E on the end of it. We'll ask that one. That was one of the names I didn't ask from Bobby the other day. We're calling him Court today. It may change next week when we get back up to Albion. But boy, I'll tell you what, that connection between he and Thomas for that pickup across the middle, where he took beautiful. A shot right to the head and still was able to focus in on that football.
Concentration, yeah.
That is one that very few people are going to make the catch.
Jerry Miller sends us another message that Finlandia feed has been stopped online, both video and audio. So
maybe they've had locusts up there.
Yeah.
We may have a situation up there where the world is coming to an end there in Concordia.
Oh, don't say that.
The return gets out to about the 30, ball almost stripped away, but instead the Yellow Jackets will start at the 31-yard line.
Jim, we got a message from Jay Winkler, class of 2013. Says, really loving the stream. Moving to YouTube made it really easy to watch on his actual TV. Presentation looks great. Now that he knows it's so easy, he'll keep watching all season. Jay, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for checking in. We appreciate it. Go Brits.
Love having all the folks out there being part of this, and please send us all the comments. That's what makes this game even more fun. Having your interaction coming our way as we call the ball games on a Saturday afternoon. And it's a warm one today, but it's a pretty day. You know, it's Labor Day weekend, so you've got to be happy. But when you take 83 and then put guys in a big old metal box without any fans or anything, it does get a little bit warmer. And we have a timeout call before everything gets started by Defiance, and that will be their last timeout here of the first half, as they've already called too.
I blame Ken for that, Jim.
Yeah, I think Ken Reeker is basically the guy in charge of all climate control around here.
As the production guy, that's part of the stage setup.
There you go. And I don't know, he's pointing at us. See, there you go. See, I'm drinking water because it's very hot up here.
Yeah.
And really, there needs to be somebody we can fan a little bit here, but, you know, that's about all we got.
I'm slowly dying.
Yeah, you know, this is kind of warm up here, but we just want you to understand that we're happy to tough it out for all you loyal Brits fans out there today.
Yep.
How's that?
This was actually a plan, and I think by the end of the game I'll have dropped about 20 pounds. So I'll finally have that swimsuit body I've always wanted for the summer, Jim. Just in time for summer to be over.
That's the only problem.
Yep, that's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. It doesn't really matter, does it, huh?
No, it's just practice for next summer.
I'll
do it better next summer.
Well, you know, Sam, our one camera op, is up on top of the building right now, and she's into getting a little suntan today because she's worked so hard this year. She's really missed out on the tanning side of this whole thing. And Kurt, who's up there with him, he's just kind of finishing off his tan. He's that bronze, golden Adonis standing up on top of the press box if you ever get a shot at that one. Brits all over this first down run. It's going to go nowhere. And that jet sweep, I think at some point in time, Nate Roberts gets about a yard, but at some point in time, if you're the coach, Matsakis, you're going to maybe go away from that because it has not, at this point in time, netted you very many positive yardage.
No, about the only thing they have left to do is either the quarterback keep it and run or keep it and try to throw to one of the open receivers on the opposite side, because the up the middle run and the jet sweep have both pretty well been stopped.
Good solid pressure by the Brits causes it a pass that's underthrown to DeMarcus Cummings. And it skipped at about the 37-yard line, and Cummings at the 39 had to just pick it up on the bounce.
McIntyre, number 10, and also Quentin Jackson in coverage right there. Jackson coming over from the linebacker spot on the right side, linebacker. Very fast. That's what we wanted, Jim. Sideline to sideline speed. Boy, does he have it.
Jarius Ballard now in the nose spot there for the Brits as we have that delayed handoff on that. It's going nowhere. Bennett really had no place to go. The draw play.
Nope, tried to cut back right there, and his right foot slipped on the turf. Bring up a 4th and 9 with 9:30 to play in the first half. And I don't see the punting unit, Jim.
You got to believe at some point in time, from the 32-yard line, 4th down and 9, at some point in time, you've got to kick that ball away and start to deal with some field position, you would think. 4th down, pass is complete, out in the flat.
Got a wrap. There you go.
And they're going to be wrapped up about 4 yards shy of that first down. Wyatt Cadmus is the young fellow that got the football.
Drew Schaefer, 26, came in on the wrap after the initial hit, and he was not going to let him swing out of that tackle. So a defensive hold for the Britons as they're now up 21-6 with 9:08 to play in the first half, and they will regain possession just inside the 40-yard line.
Colin Poore and also Justin Thomas, who scored his first touchdown as a Brit in that last possession here on the wide receivers on the home side, and the big tight end Brian Blanzy then in the slot. Thomas looking the other direction, though, and this one gets knocked down. Well, I'll tell you what, there was a battle going on out there between our left tackle, who is 72, Jared Jones, and also the right defensive end there by Defiance College, and he was able to get the end, able to get his hand up and knock that ball down. So
that was Brian Tabor, number 45, the freshman, who was engaged in a block and also still got the hands up. So I'm sure the D coordinator for the Jackets had to be very happy with that play.
Canfield, I think, was the intended receiver, and he's the only guy up on that home visitor side again, all by himself as he streaks down that sideline. They'll toss this one into the flat to Poore. Poore looks for some positive yardage. He'll get down across the 38 to about the 37, so only a pickup of 1. It'll set up 3rd down now and 9.
Philip Franklin, number 6, the freshman in coverage right there with the good stop out of Cincinnati. So the Jackets got one out of Cincinnati that Mount St. Joe did not.
There you go. It's always good to go down and recruit that area if you're a Defiance College team.
Yep, Cincinnati, another excellent football town.
MSJ, Mount St. Joseph does normally control most of the kids that come out of that area. Thomas rolls left, almost had that one picked off. Threw that one behind Blanzy. Blanzy was heading towards the sideline on the run. Thomas didn't lead him. He threw it behind him, and it was almost picked off for the second time this afternoon. Now Coach Rundle will take that 4th down attack out of his strategy book.
Stephen Lucas, number 30 in coverage right there, the sophomore, I think was just as surprised. Was probably why he didn't hold on to that one. Just surprised that pass went where it went.
And they'll also take a timeout to talk about it, too.
Wouldn't surprise me if they end up eventually punting this one and just trying to pin the Jackets inside the 10. Nothing would surprise me, really. It's game 1. You're up 15. You've controlled both sides of the ball pretty much today. I mean, the Jackets have strung a couple of nice drives together, including putting one in the end zone. But, you know, the Britain's defense has risen up when it needed to. So you have to feel good about how your team is performing so far on both sides of the ball. That last drive was a must for them. Taking some time off the clock, giving the defense a rest, and hopefully the offense can pick up. Yep, looks like they are going to line up to punt.
Yep, they are. They took a minute and thought about a few things and said, okay, let's make this happen. So far in the afternoon, actually Defiance with 9 first downs compared to 8 for the Britons. 5 through the air, and Britons with 3 through the air, 2 by the run, and 2 by penalty. But they're only, they're 2 for 9 on 3rd down, and they're 0 for 7 or 2 for 7 on 4th down so far. High kick will drive the receiver to the 5 with a fair catch, and I think a good idea as Blanzy causes the Jackets some headaches. And I'll tell you another headache, when you're at the 5-yard line, you don't put your hand up in the air, you let that one bounce hopefully past you and into the end zone.
Nate Roberts right there, 84, the senior. Yeah, usually that 10-yard line is about where you stop as a returner. Maybe the 7, 8-yard line at most, but surprised to see him backpedal to the 5 and then call for the fair catch and not just run out and try to engage a block. I want to say hi to DM Thomas for the email. Thank you for streaming. We're Hornet fans, but thankfully you're streaming so we can watch in Florida. Appreciate that email. And also one more from the Cali family in Westerville, Ohio. John Cali writes in and says hello, so we say hello back. Thank you so much for watching.
Freeman went under center. He dropped, and he threw the ball out on the flat, and it was dropped. Trying to get the ball to Nate Roberts, and Roberts took his eye off of it for a second, and it hit him in the worst spots, right in his hands. So that will set up a second down now, and 10 from the 6-yard line.
Plenty of time left in this first half, 8:15, so no worry about using one of your 2 remaining timeouts right now. Again, the Jackets have already burned all 3 of theirs.
Jet sweep again, and this time they get some decent blocking, and they'll get a first down as the young fellow gets all the way out to the 16-yard line. 34, Jimmy, for these guys for Defiance. I don't have a 34 as well.
34, Alex Richards Hernandez, the sophomore running back out of Gibsonburg. So it's Alex Richards Hernandez.
There you go. Defiance right up to the line, trying to keep some things going.
3rd and 1 here.
Didn't quite get all he needed to get. And the dive play, I don't think going to be successful for the first down, as the Britons' interior defensive line snuffed it out short of the 15-yard line.
And if we had MIAA officials, we would already know if that was a first down or not, because they don't measure.
They'll give him the line that I gave him, just over the 15 at the 16, and or the 15 to the 15 and a half. And
not that it matters.
Gets past the 16. Yeah, not that it necessarily matters.
Not that it really matters.
It's the 8th time they've gone for it on 4th down, is what they're showing.
Interesting call.
That can't be right. That stat can't be right. But it's about the 6th time they've gone. And the handoff is not going to be successful.
I think they might give them the forward progress.
Let's see. Brits all over it. I think it was Bennett that had the football, and Bennett got back to about the line of scrimmage and ran into some gold helmets.
I think I'd measure.
Turned him around.
It's kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And it looks like, it depends on if he needs the 16.
It's hard to say from
the
angle
we're at. He's not gotten it. Okay,
yeah.
I don't think he has the 16. If he needs just short of the 16, it's going to be close. So we'll bring the sticks on for the first time here this afternoon and get this thing measured out. And I'll check real quick on that stat on that 4th down, because
here we go.
We will stretch the chains.
First down.
There you go. Well, they did have that was they're now 2 of 8. That was the 8th time they've tried on 4th down here the time.
Before, yeah.
So they were 2 of 8 now.
Unbelievable.
Defiance has run 44 plays already for 149 total yards. The Brits have run 24 plays for 170.
But in that case, it's time of possession and the score on the scoreboard.
Time of possession really does not would not be something that you would. It's something you normally like to win, but all the Brits thought there was, but they didn't call it. Jet sweep, right corner, and again, Brits right there to seal it off and knock him out of bounds.
I can see why he was in a hurry. He was getting the call. I believe that was 22, Cadmus.
Yep.
On the jet sweep right there.
Cadmus got about a yard.
He sure looked like he flinched, but they're probably saying he wasn't set.
So 2nd down and 9 right now, 6:20 to play here in the opening half, as we're getting our legs stretched out a little bit on this first afternoon as well. Looking forward to get back up next week to the home crowd and Franklin Grizzlies team that comes to town. Oh, my goodness, the Bear. Oh, my goodness. Here comes the heat. The Britons all over. Young Mr. Ryan Freeman. Freeman got hit initially as you watch this replay.
I thought the first one was a hand to the face. That's why I was a little worried. Watch the right hand there. It looked like he might have hit the face mask. The Brits might have got away with one right there.
Aronson with the initial play.
You saw that right hand come in, right?
Yep, and then Hurd was the guy that wrapped it all up.
He pinballed him.
Man, I'll tell you what, this young fella, the freshman from Florida, not really feeling good about his day as he throws behind his intended receiver and is almost picked up off the carpet there by Drew Schaefer, but it will go incomplete. And oh, by the way, it's 4th down. Okay. I got to believe, here comes a punter. Here comes a number 1 off the sideline. This has got to be a punter, right? Wouldn't you think?
Logan Miko.
Yep, it's the other quarterback that they have. No, Miko is 11. Or did they change his number 2?
The roster I have on their website is that he's lining up as a quarterback.
He's lining up as their quarterback right now, and he is going to quick kick. That's the reason he came in. Nice high kick. Going to hit inside of Briton territory and be down right around the 44, maybe the 43-yard line. Okay, Miko came in, and again, on the pre-numbers that we got, Miko was 11, not 1, and that's why we're trying to everybody on this first afternoon always works through all the bugs, and numbers are always part of that bugs, because on Thursday afternoon somebody remembers that his Uncle Hank used to play here. And guys, you know, he was 27, guys, and I'm 84. Can I have Uncle Hank's number? Well, yeah, there's no 27. So
imagine if they did that in the NFL.
Oh my goodness. So I don't know what happened, but instead of 11, Logan Miko is number 1, and a nice kick puts the Britons in play at the 44-yard line, first down and 10 with 5:23 to play here in the first half.
2 timeouts, plenty of time.
Thomas sends one in motion and turns and hands the football off to the big fella, Doug Freeman. And Freeman rumbling and bumbling into Yellow Jacket territory inside the 45 to about the 41.
And watch the saving tackle by Bo Barkley right there. Gets that left hand in, hits the foot just right. Otherwise, he's getting ahead of steam, and he's going to be so tough to bring down.
Faking the ball this time and throwing it down the field to Thomas. Yes! And his brother combination hooks up for touchdown number 2. Rack that one up at 41 yards.
Using the run to set up the pass.
And this is going to be a fun combination with Kyle and Justin Thomas.
Had 2 steps on the defender. Defender looked like he got wrong-footed. Number 6, Philip Franklin, the freshman in coverage right there. And Franklin looked like he was all kind of twisted and turned on that one, Jim. He was looking to the inside, and the receiver shot to the outside.
27-6 with the extra point heading through the uprights, and it's 28-6 now. And Fabry now opens up the season 4 for 4 for the Britons, and the Britons now with 22-point lead. And starting to find their way, Jimmy. I think we're, everything, obviously, that first couple series, both teams having some troubles trying to find their way, find a rhythm. You know, that first series of downs for both teams in 2018. And the next thing you know, Britons, I think, have found that gear. And all of a sudden, think about the chemistry between the 2 brothers, the wide receiver and the quarterback now. And both of them, a sophomore and a junior, have several years ahead of them here for us Albion Brits fans.
And that's one of those things that, now defenses can start to key in on that. So Justin Thomas catches 2 touchdown passes, and you still have Marlon Martin, Jim, who really has flashed some good things over the last couple years now as a junior. And he looked fantastic in that scrimmage we watched, too. So if the defense wants to overcommit to Thomas, now you have not only Marlon Martin, number 4, who's extremely fast.
Yes.
But you also have those tight ends we were talking about before, who they were making a real impact, too. So the opportunities exist for a lot of diversity in offense.
Blanzy obviously still around. Poor Canfield. This is going to be a team that should put a couple points on the board this year, I would think. Roberts will catch this one down around the 12, bring it up the Briton sideline, and he'll be out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line when the Brits finally knock him down. Decent field position for the Yellow Jackets as they get another opportunity here in this first half. They have used all their timeouts so far. The Brits have 2 left to use if they need them here before the half is over.
Tracy Kreiderman writes in, says, we're watching from Sault Ste. Marie. Number 51, Chase Boucher's parents. We tune in every time. We are not at the game. Do a great job. We love Albion College and everything about it. So excited to see what the Brits do this year. Chase was 2nd team all MIAA last year and a local hometown hero in football and wrestling. So thank you, Tracy, for tuning in. Greatly appreciate the support, and we agree. Go Brits.
And I think the name is Miko. I think his mom or one of his fans sitting right in front of us, and we appreciate that as well. So the young fellow that hit it is Logan Miko. Always good to have a relative right in front of you if you got a pronunciation that didn't go in your way. How's that?
She just said it and didn't throw something, so that's a good thing.
Miko's back in the quarterback position here to open up this drive, and kind of wishes he wouldn't as he got introduced to Malik Bozell.
And also Nolan Rawlings, number 38, in there too. So And I'll read you an email from Bobby Lee here in just a moment, too. Actually, it looks like we have a little bit of a break. Led by Kyle Smith, the overall first-place runner of the Albion College men's cross-country team, finished first in the Sodexo Grizzly Invitational this morning.
Wonderful, man. There's a sport I've never been good at, and anybody that knows me and has met me understands why. A big fellow like I do not run long distances well. Miko does hook up on the connection here to the 40-yard line.
Going to be about a yard and a half short. But you know what that means, Jim?
Yeah, fourth down and 1. Santora was the young fellow that caught the only touchdown pass there in this first half, and Miko hooks up with Santora. Santora with a nice opportunity. So it is now third down and 1.
Oh,
and we're gonna measure here real quick.
I was thinking it was going to be a fourth down.
So we'll see what happens here with this whole situation. These two teams, Jimmy, I was talking about that with Bobby here a little earlier. These two teams have met 13 times. This is time number 14 between Albion and Defiance College, and this will be just short by about 6 inches. Brit's a perfect 13-0 and 4-0 under Craig Rundle. And you know, if you remember, we were doing the Defiance games, and this is a fourth down. They just hadn't flipped over the down marker. 2013 was the closest game in the whole bunch, 32-29. That's when we met Bobby Lee and all the folks up in Albion. And
that was the night game.
Yep, what a wonderful arrangement that was for us, and we were very lucky to come up that day and now be the voice of Albion football here. So here we go, fourth down and about 6 inches. Miko comes up underneath center, and he will sneak it for the first down, I believe.
And that's one of those plays that they say he lost the ball.
Yeah, the ball's Briton's ball. Oops, he just forgot one thing, and Nolan Rawlings was the young fellow that came out with the pigskin when everything was over and done with. So looked like he had the first down, but when the pile came up and the officials and the Brits were all pointing in the same direction, and Rawlings had the football in his hands, it'll be Briton's football with a turnover.
That's one of those cases where if you had official-led instant replay right there, I believe there was a whistle that blew for forward progress. So at what point does the whistle blow to blow the play dead versus the ball coming out? The referee says change of possession, so that's what we go with, Briton's ball.
Thomas again in the backfield. He'll fake the handoff, roll to his left, and now he will throw. And there's that young fellow that we're talking about, number 88, Darius Case.
Penalty flag on the play. Probably a hold downfield on the block, I would guess.
So Case with his first catch here as a Brit.
And the penalty is enforced at the 35. To be about 7 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Holding Albion.
Holding against Albion.
So instead of having the football down on about the 28-yard line after a nice pickup of about 13 there for the young freshman tight end, this ball will now be moved back and set down at the 45-yard line. It will be first down at about 13.
Got another message from Bobby Lee with some good news about Albion College women's cross-country team, which we'll give you at the next break.
3:10 to play in this opening half. All Brits so far, 28-6. Thomas throws. He's got his guy in the flats. Breaking the tackle is Canfield, and Canfield gets up for a couple more yards and then steps out of bounds. Down around the 37-yard line. It'll be second down now and about 5.
The way the Britons run the no-huddle offense, I know now.
Yeah, you don't ever have
4. I don't have time. We'll get to it as soon as we can, Bobby. I promise you, man. But
talk to the coach about it, man. Talk to the coach about it. But we'll get here in just a second. 2:49 and counting. Thomas hands off right up the middle is Freeman. He's got room. He'll have the first down. Lowers that shoulder and drives a whole bunch of purple jerseys inside that 30 to the 29.
Excellent push by the offensive line right there. Just huge gap to run right up the gut, and that's demoralizing for the defense when you can run it right up the middle like that. That's usually where you're supposed to be most stout.
First and 10 Brits now, 2.5 to play. Thomas drops, looks, Fires across the middle. That's his little brother again, and they hook up for a nice pickup, which will give them another first down inside the 20, down to around the 18.
So if they're sitting at the dinner table tonight, maybe talking with mom and dad, which one of them you say is going to have the better game?
Well, you know, I think
because the quarterback will say, "I threw it to you," and the other guy say, "Well, I caught it and I ran with it."
Exactly.
So they'll both have to have to share credit tonight.
I think mom and dad are just going to have to negotiate that one tonight. How's that? And we're not going to try. Fake to Freeman, throw down to Marlon Martin, and Martin is down to the 6-yard line.
And again, that's a big part of that is the success of Justin Thomas right there. 2 touchdowns and another big reception on the last play. Now all of a sudden Marlon Martin getting single coverage, no safety help over the top. So as long as he can shake his guy, he should have a couple of opportunities here, especially at the end of the first and into the second half.
Brits first and goal at the 6 with 1:40 to go. Thomas fakes, throws into the end zone, and that's an easy touchdown again. Another freshman, Darius Case, the 6'3", 235-pound sophomore, out of Jackson. And we've been waiting to see this guy play ever since we saw him at that scrimmage as well.
Yep.
Look at that big guy. I'll tell you, between he and Blanzy, you kind of wonder, because Brian Blanzy has been a wonderful tight end for this team, the senior. Who's going to be the next guy to step up? Well, maybe we're seeing him right here.
And again, another player who's 6'3". They're both listed at 6'3", both over 200 pounds. So
extra point straight through the middle.
I think we have procedure penalty against the Brits. They should have blown that play dead, I think. While we're sorting that out, Bobby Lee sends us a note that says Darby Kellogg made an impressive collegiate debut. She was the second runner to reach the finish line as the Brits finished third in the Sodexo Grizzly Invitational. She completed the 6K in 22:57, and Leah Cianive was ninth at 24:46. So excellent job by Darby and the women's cross-country team. Thank you, Bobby, for the note.
Call actually was encroachment against the Yellow Jackets, and the
so that'll be on the kickoff.
Brits will decline that and take the extra point. So it will be Britain's 35, Yellow Jackets 6 here. And we still have 1:42 to play here in this first half.
So coming up at the half again, Jim, you mentioned we'll be joined by an old friend, Lynn Grohl from the Defiance Crescent News. He'll talk some MIAA football, maybe talk a little bit of Heartland football as well for the folks who are watching from Northwest Ohio and into Southern Ohio and even Northeast Indiana.
Good crowd here from Albion today, and on the visitor side, they've all got their blankets and their umbrellas, as that sun's beating down pretty good on the crowd here at Justin F. Caressel Stadium. This one's going to go out of bounds at about the 12-yard line, so ball will be brought up and placed.
Uncharacteristic mistake right there for the Britons will give the Jackets decent starting field position.
And so
I believe at the 30.
Jackets will have a good opportunity here. 30-yard line is where the ball is going to come to, and they'll place it down first and 5 at the 35. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And 35-yard line, first and 10, 1:42 to play. No timeouts though for the Yellow Jackets, who have had very minimal success. That one long touchdown pass where Ryan Freeman hooked up with Santora has been the only bright spot here so far the afternoon. And now Logan Miko comes back into the football game, the sophomore out of Grosse Pointe. And you kind of wonder how a 6'3", 192-pounder got away from Albion that came out of Grosse Pointe, because that's where, Fabry and the Blanzys are from. Pass was a little bit low, and it skipped. It was incomplete. It was heading towards Cummings
right there, yep.
Well, I think the PA guys announced it to Miko as well. So, Mom got down here, and she was here, and she thinks we're doing PA maybe is what we're doing, because the PA guy just called him Miko as well.
For the record, I want to say we're saying it right.
We are doing it right, and we'll tell Mom that once we get done with the ball game. Stop clock at 1:38. Miko out of trouble, then back into trouble. Ouch. Mitchell Aronson said, hey, come on over my way, huh, Jimmy?
Yeah, good stop behind the line. Again, no timeouts. And at this point, I can't think the Jackets are going to be in any big hurry. And I'd have to think also, despite the fact that the Britons have 2 timeouts, you're up, 4 scores.
Yeah, you're going to be happy.
I think you just want to get to the half and get everybody, make sure they're all hydrated and cooled off. It's not going to get any cooler as the afternoon goes on.
And you're going to have to think a game like today is going to be one where the Brits are going to get an opportunity to maybe put some new faces out on that field. That one, nice job by Padel to just barely get a hand on it, but it looked like it was heading down the field again to Santora. And Santora was running that route along that sideline, and Padel got up, tipped it away, as you noticed, and look at there. Santora says, darn.
And Padel also went airborne on that one, which means if he did not get a hand on it, there's nobody behind to track that receiver down. So that's a walk-in touchdown. So
in fact,
all or nothing kind of play right there. Fortunately for the Brits, becomes an all.
I think that was Dutch Blake, actually, 89 instead of Santora. That was the intended receiver on that one.
Another quick kick.
Oh, there you
blocked.
go. And
That's
this
a very
one,
short kick.
really short, goes out of bounds and caught by the water bottles there at the 50-yard line. So they'll mark that out at the 43-yard line. Brits football, 48 seconds left to go in the half. And now what do? Do you just take a knee and head it to the house for the halftime, or do you
this close? I mean, if you were, say, from your own 40 and back, I'd say maybe run a play and see if you break one, and if not, don't worry about it. Let's go to the half. But, I mean, with that kind of starting field position, I mean, it's like you're almost begging to take a shot at that point.
Well, we got all the first-teamers on the field. We got doubles to the bottom, a single to the back, the top, and a single running back in the backfield, and I believe they will turn and hand that ball off to Zach Servo.
Oh, Servo.
Haven't seen Zarnecki yet here today, but I would think we'll see him before the afternoon is over. And Servo will pick up about 6. And Servo gets about 6, and it's 32 seconds and counting. And the Brits are right back at the line of scrimmage. They're going to call timeout, man. Brits anxious to do something here as they came running off the sideline, signaling for the timeout. That will be their second timeout here of the first half, and it will stop the clock with 29.8 seconds left to go, and does give them enough time to run a couple more plays.
Yep. Although you'd have to think coming out of a timeout, you're probably going to throw.
You would think, you would think. And knowing that, they'll come out and take a knee, and they'll run to the locker room, and we'll all look like we know absolutely nothing about the game of football.
Well, one thing you and I can probably agree on is they're probably not going to punt.
That I think and I don't believe they're quite ready to try a long field goal or a drop kick, either one. How's that?
Oh, I'd like to see a drop kick try.
Still like to see that one happen one time. Yeah, when we get Lynn over here this afternoon, we'll talk a little bit about the MIAA. We'll talk a little about the HCAC, and we'll talk a little bit about this series that has been so one-sided, and also who the D3 football gods think are the top teams in the country this year. Second down now and about 4 for the Britons. Ball on the 37-yard line of the Yellow Jackets. Thomas in that pistol look, and he'll drop to throw. And the lefty rolls to his left, throws into the sideline. He's got Servo. And Serzo is up the field to the 25 and then tumbled, I think, out of bounds. Serzo stops the clock.
About the 27-yard line, 28-yard line.
May not have gotten out of bounds. Maybe it's just because the sticks are moving that the clock stopped, because they're going to wind it right here with 21.7. And the Brits are right at the line of scrimmage and ready to go.
Nope, they marked him out of bounds because they haven't stopped it or started it yet.
Thomas again with Serzo in the backfield with him. The lefty drops, throws deep into the end zone and over the head of Colby Canfield, who had double coverage down around that 5-yard line. They had a safety up top and a cornerback.
Yep, and Cody Drum Turner, number 33, the sophomore right there from Homer, Michigan, in coverage. And that's not too far from Albion.
Yeah, no, it's just right in the corner.
So right up the road, yep. Good coverage right there, kind of step for step, and a lot of contact back and forth, but no call.
Brian Blanzy checks into the game along with Isaiah Gibson. Gibson in the slot on the top side, Blanzy in the slot on the bottom side of your screen. Serzo in the backfield. Thomas drops. He has time. Now he'll roll towards the Defiance sideline, still looking to throw. And he'll run out of bounds right around the 23, 24-yard line with 8 seconds left to go.
You have time for 2 plays? Or do you kick here? Because you're in his range.
Yeah,
This
you know,
would be about
it might not be a
39-yard field goal.
might not be a bad idea to give your field goal team a try right here, but it doesn't look like they have any intentions of that. But coaches with plenty of time, I think they're going to run a play here at third down, and then maybe they'll kick it
Either
fourth
a
if
quick
there's still
out.
time on the clock.
Yeah. And they do have a timeout, so even if you have the whole field, basically, is what we're saying.
Martin and Blanzy here in front of us. Serzo again in the backfield. He's there to block. Thomas with plenty of time
Open.
across the middle. I think he completed the pass down inside the 5, and we'll call a timeout with 2 seconds left to go.
Good
and
execution.
the ball on the 3 or the 2. Let's see where they're going to knock it down. They're actually bring it out to the 4-yard line is where they're going to say.
Great dive and catch. Watch his concentration. And I think that might be one that if you had instant replay might be called incomplete. But just take our word for it, it was a catch.
It was a catch and a first down there for the
Absolutely a catch.
Britons down on the 4-yard line of the Yellow Jackets with 2 seconds left to go in this first half.
One of the about 3 or 4 different occasions I can count for both teams, Jim, where the defender, ball's gone basically right through a defender, didn't get his hands on it. And you just have to credit the concentration of the receivers in that case for not taking their eye off the ball.
So 2 seconds left. This will be the last play of the first half. The Brits with a 35-6 lead over the Yellow Jackets, and the Jackets on the sideline grabbing a little water, talking to their new head coach and his assistants.
Basically an extra point right here, just a little bit longer than an extra point. Hope everybody has a good Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, boy, I do too. That's it's coming up. Be safe. You know, with they interviewed the other day with the State Highway Patrol, and they said they're going to ticket and if you don't click it here this weekend, and also don't drive drunk. And we want you all to have a great holiday, and then be with us next week here when we take on Franklin. And the toss to Blanzy is a little bit long, and that's how the first half will end, as the Britons will take a 35-6 lead into the halftime here on the Briton Sports Network. And we're going to take a break for a minute or two. We're going to get Lynn Groen with us here shortly, and we'll go over all those first half stats. Brits up 35-6 here on the Briton Sports Network, and Mr. Kenny Reeker is going to take control of your television set right now.
Albion College, and today I'm just going to talk about why I chose to coach Special Olympics and my experience with that. So on campus, we have 2 volleyball teams that practice at Kresge from Area 16, so people from Battle Creek, from Albion, from Marshall, all over the place that come and practice every Sunday. I coach the traditional team with Morgan Benham, and that's pretty much run like a normal volleyball team, but we also have a modified team which Melissa Walton coaches, and the rules are just slightly different, and it allows for every athlete to be able to play volleyball. So why did I decide to coach volleyball for Special Olympics? I decided to coach volleyball because I think it's really important that everyone gets a chance to participate in athletics, whether it be volleyball, basketball, any sport that they want. And without the volunteers that Special Olympics has, that's not possible. Being a future educator, I really wanted to see what it was like to work with Special Olympians, and I can just say that it's been the most amazing experience in my 4 years here on campus. The community is just so welcoming and open-minded about everything, and it's been truly a treat to get to work with our Special Olympians. So a couple Saturdays ago, I helped Melissa host a Special Olympics tournament here on campus. And I just want to say thank you to all our volunteers that came out and helped us. It was really awesome to have you guys. I learned a lot from it, to say the least. Being an athlete since middle school, I had never really taken the time to put together a tournament or anything like that. So it gave me definitely an appreciation for the process that goes into it. But it was definitely really cool to see how many people just want to be a part of Special Olympics and want these athletes to succeed and be able to play these sports that they learned to love from doing this. And it definitely has helped me be a better coach. I've definitely found better ways to explain things and make things easier for athletes. So if it's ever something you're interested in doing, if you ever want to coach, I would definitely recommend being a Special Olympic coach to start, and then continuing that all throughout your time coaching. experience with that. So on campus, we have two volleyball teams that practice at Kresge from Area 16, so people from Battle Creek, from Albion, from
So what's so exciting about move-in day?
I think move-in day is exciting because it's new people coming in, finding new friends, this whole energy among the family of getting their student ready.
I'm actually a graduate from Albion College. I remember back in 2000 when I was a freshman about yay high, getting help moving into Seton Hall, and so I'm glad to help pay it forward and be a part of this wonderful community.
What advice or guidance, if any, did your parents give you before coming to Albion?
They told me to take advantage of everything, including like academics, sports, and clubs. Have a great time, listen to your professors, and just enjoy the ride and like take everything in and just see how it goes.
What picture did you have of Albion based on what your parents had told you?
Well, I heard a lot of stories about my dad's friends that went to school here, so I know that pretty much all of them are leaders in everything they do with their work fields or whatever it is, and I've seen the way that he's developed over his adult life as I've grown up, and I know that Albion had a huge impact in that.
What memories do you have of your move-in?
The first thing I remember is anticipating being different, anticipating how my future was going to be, you know, having my chance to really be me instead of mom being over my head. And now as a mom, I see what my mother was talking about.
The overwhelming feeling of trying to get used to a whole new experience and new college life.
There were tons of people and lots of help, and it was a lot of fun.
My move-in day, I just remember all the friends, meeting new friends and not realizing later on that they would be friends for life.
I guess it's overwhelming. There's a lot going on, but we're excited. I know she's excited.
What's the most exciting thing about move-in day?
Meeting the new freshmen.
Meeting the new people who are going to change Albion for the next couple years.
Yeah, meeting the new freshmen who are going to be part of our community.
Seeing all the friendly new faces and how they're going to change the environment around here.
So what are you feeling today with all the move-in chaos?
A lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And I'm going to miss her.
Do you have a favorite dorm story to share?
That's a good one. I'm trying to think. I think one of my friends moved one of the beds out in the middle of the night, so he couldn't actually sleep. And I think they threw it out in the lawn area over in the middle.
Oh. So what are like one or two ways that Albion has moved you and shaped you academically, socially, that type of thing?
All right, so when I came to Albion, it was really the beginning of my adult life, right? And you come to the middle of the cornfields, and there's this idyllic campus, and it was really like Oz. It transformed me academically, personally, and it set me on the path for the rest of my life.
The biggest thing with Albion is I came here not kind of knowing what I wanted to do, and I left Albion really with a clear picture of what I wanted to do in my career. And I met so many great friends, and it was really an awesome experience. I tell my children all the time, enjoy it because it flies by.
And we're back here at Justin F. Caressel Stadium here in Defiance College. The Brits on top comfortably 35-6. And an old buddy of ours, Lynn Grohl, who has been through the wars with us a time or two. Lynn, from the Defiance Crescent, good to have you in the booth today.
Back. It's been a while since we've had you up here.
It has been, man. It's been a long while. And I still remember that day against Mount St. Joe. On,
it was Anderson.
Was it Anderson?
It was Anderson.
Okay.
We spent about 4 hours of filling the air of worthless chatter, I think.
Yeah, at homecoming, and we had that storm delay. And
yeah.
You can't leave the stream. Right. You got to keep going.
Right.
So I think we talked about everything, including football, during that 4 hours.
All the world problems that day, I believe.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, tell me, for the folks watching on the Albion Brits Network here right now, this Defiance team, to be able to come in as a group, when your coach was only hired 3 weeks ago has got to be pretty difficult. What's it been like around here?
I don't know anybody really knew what to expect today. And I don't know if Coach Matsakis really knew either, because he had just got here August 7th. He moved in. The players actually moved him into their house, his wife and his young son and their dogs. So I don't think anybody really knew, but the consensus around here is the right man for the job. Give him a couple more years, get this turned around. 40 of their 65 players are freshmen.
Yeah.
Not working with a ton, obviously, right now. So they need to hit the recruiting trail hard, go from there, and see where they're at from right now till week 10, go to the off season, get some more talent here, and go from there down the road.
Yeah. You know, the one thing that has stuck out in our mind as we're doing the ball game now, fourth down is not a kicking down for this team right now.
No, it's not. And I don't know, it's not that they're taking chances.
Right.
Coach Matsakis is taking more of a scrimmage look at this game, seeing what he's got, getting more reps with those fourth downs in a pressure situation and see what they can do is what they're working on there more than anything. They didn't have a scrimmage at all this season because he got in so late, so they just scrapped all their scrimmages this year and kind of treating these two non-conference games as such.
Probably a smart idea.
Probably, yeah. And they have, from what he's told me, about 20% of the offense in, so there's not a lot of the offense in, not much of the defense either. He was hiring coaches when he got here. He had no assistants when he arrived, so it has been quite chaotic.
No doubt about that, man. It's a team that was finished. They're picked for 7th, I think, in the HCAC this year, which makes it, about probably right for a team that has what they have going on this year.
Yeah, you probably expect them to maybe beat Earlham and Anderson.
Yep.
That's who is picked behind them in the coaches poll, and the coaches poll usually is pretty much the same as the standings the year before. There's not much change to it, and that's just how it is with coaches polls, however much stock you want to put into those.
Franklin, the top team again, and we're going to get a chance to see Franklin next week. You and I both know an awful lot about Franklin. This is a team that has dominated this conference.
Yeah, they have. Now, the rumors are they are a little bit down from years past. Now, that's what I've heard. I don't know how true that is, but that is the consensus that I've heard a little bit on from the Franklin folks, is they are maybe not as good as what they have been in the past. I think Rose Holman is kind of the team that is starting to take over the Heartland.
They've won the last 8 HCAC conference championships, though. So Mike Leonard has some good things going down there.
He knows what he's doing down there, and he's built quite the juggernaut in the conference. And they took Mount Union down to the wire just a few years ago at Mount Union. So they know how to play some football down there.
So it is not going to be a cakewalk next week when Franklin comes to our place.
No, I would assume not. They have that offense, that they have that run and gun, and they're really good at it. They always have a good quarterback, good receivers. Their defense is always stout. So you're going to have to earn it to beat a Franklin squad.
Yeah, even on a down year like they're maybe projecting that's going to be here this year. Let's talk a little bit about the D3 football as a whole, because you mentioned Mount Union. D3 football says they're the top team in the country again, and I don't think that surprises anybody.
No, I don't think so. Mary Hardin Baylor and them have kind of been the top two teams here the last couple years. Whitewater is maybe not what they have been, but those are kind of been the teams that everybody looks at, and they've dominated Division III.
What is it about Mount Union?
They get a lot of Division I kids, transfers or whatnot, or something doesn't work out with the kid at Division I. You've seen all the players they've sent to the NFL over the years. So they just have better talent for whatever reason. Maybe not quite the academic standards that other places have at the Division III level, and hey, it works for them.
There's no doubt about that. That has been a program. My wife and I were talking about that last night. My wife is a painter. She has no desire to talk football.
Yeah.
But she saw me making notes about Mount Union, and she said, "Why are they good all the time?" And I said, "I don't know. It just seems like they always." Almost the same answer you gave. If the kid can't make it at the University of Illinois, he seems to end up at Mount Union,
Right, yeah.
Or if he's coming out of high school.
Whitewater's the same way,
yeah. They maybe not quite good enough to go someplace else.
There's a big gap between Division I and Division III in talent. I don't know that people understand the gap there is, but you get a couple Division I kids on your team playing against Division III kids. You have huge advantage.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
And you know that whole Wisconsin system that they have going on there with Stevens Point, Oshkosh now is the team this year that they're picking high.
Yeah.
You know,
those schools have 15,000 enrollment.
Yeah.
You know, they have tons of kids there because they're a public school. It's kind of an offshoot of the University of Wisconsin, and all those Whitewater, Stevens Point, Oshkosh, all those.
Yeah, it just is an amazing football program over there in Wisconsin.
When we were in Whitewater for the NCAA basketball tournament a few years ago, and it's amazing. They have a bowling alley on their campus. You know, I mean, it's pretty much a MAC campus. It's like a Bowling Green or Central Michigan for your folks up in Albion or Western Michigan, something like that.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts so far of our Albion Brits from a Yellow Jacket follower.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. You know, I think they were a little surprised and probably didn't know what Defiance was going to run. I'm sure that they had an idea of the history of Coach Matsakis and kind of what he's ran at his past jobs, but I don't know they knew what to expect because they hadn't seen any film on him.
Yeah.
So I think it took them a quarter to kind of figure that out, and now they've settled in, and Defiance is having a pretty rough time moving the football.
Yeah, they really have. Well, you know, we've got a tough way to go this year as well because we've got Trine as the top team in the MIAA this year. They're picked number 20 in the D3 football.
Yeah.
And that's just a good, solid program over in Angola.
That program has just built up through the years. Defiance used to play them maybe 10 years ago, and they've just kind of steadily built up, and now they're kind of a MIAA juggernaut up there for you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a tough team to play against this year. Hope's also going to be awfully strong this year.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Hope comes in here next week.
Yeah, you guys get to see them next week. What a back-to-back pair.
Yeah, and they've really, I think it was 2 years ago they came in here, and Defiance really had their way with them, and I think they lost one other game the rest of that season, and that's when they have kind of really turned the corner, the Flying Dutch have.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun football season. We appreciate your bouncing back over here with us for a couple of minutes.
No problem.
Jimmy Bellamy is taking a break. He's stretching his hammies out because he's got a lot of stats that he's going to do for everybody right now. But what do you expect to see in the second half before I let you go?
Probably a little bit more of the same. I think the score will keep getting progressively in Albion's favor. They just have more talent at this point. Really have figured out this Defiance offense. I don't think Defiance has much more that they can show offensively. So I think Albion has seen everything that they're pretty much going to see offensively, and they've really figured it out and shut it down.
So it's going to be kind of a scrimmage for both of them here in the second half.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of backups in, and especially for Albion, Defiance does not have the depth. They only go about 2 deep at all their positions. So it's going to be a lot of backups and more of a scrimmage type atmosphere, I would say.
Lynn Grohl, always great to see you when we're out on the road. Thank you for your time here at halftime.
Appreciate it.
We're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, Jim Bellamy will catch up with all the first half stats, and we'll get ready for the third quarter kick here on the Briton Sports Network.
We're really excited to just be able to see some different teams and get more experiences competing against other conferences. The last couple of years, we've really been trying to establish ourselves as a perennial top 4 team, and we really have evolved into that team that's going to contend every year for that. Our players have really embraced and believe in that, and they're really excited about what our next steps are going to be. I think there will be a whole different level of competitiveness with every single team that we play, because there's only that one chance. With 6 teams making the conference tournament, it'll feel very competitive, and the goals shift a little bit from being just top 4. Our girls bring back a really strong sense of team pride and team culture. That's something they've worked really hard on all year. I think that's just going to carry over. I think we bring back a lot of the experience and pieces and belief in winning and the work that takes to get there. I think that they're hungry, and being in that position of being in tournament games this past season left them hungry, so I think they're going to be ready to go to take that next step. We have a lot of really experienced returners coming back that will really help us towards our goals. We really bring back all the experience that will really help us be super competitive.
Back out at Justin F. Gressel Stadium. It is halftime, 35-6. The Britons lead the Defiance College Yellow Jackets. Jim Bellamy giving you a first half recap. To start it off, Freeman rushed for 2 yards for the first touchdown and 9:05 to play in quarter number 1. The extra point made it 7-0. They would extend the lead excuse me, to 14-0 with a 16-yard Freeman run. And the extra point made it 14-0 with 2:23 to play in the quarter. Early in the second quarter, Ryan Freeman hits Jason Santora for a 40-yard touchdown at the 13:37 mark. They missed the extra point after a false start penalty, and that made it 14-6. 21-6 ended up being the score as Kyle Thomas hit Justin Thomas for a 12-yard score. He would also then go back to Justin Thomas, his brother, for a 41-yard touchdown at the 5:01 mark of the first half. Extra point made it 28-6, and then Kyle Thomas capped off the first half with a 6-yard pass to Darius Case, and that gets your halftime score, which is 35-6. Individual statistics: Kyle Thomas 17 of 25 for 214 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. On the ground, Freeman leads all rushers, 7 carries for 54 yards and 2 scores. Kyle Thomas 4 carries for 27 yards as well. And through the air, a couple of receivers with 4 catches apiece. Justin Thomas, younger brother, 2 touchdowns with 94 yards on 4 catches. Colin Poor, 4 for 35, and Serzo, 2 for 16. Case also has 2 catches for 20 yards. For the Defiance College Yellow Jackets, Ryan Freeman, 8 of 23 for 119 and a touch. And Logan Miko, also 2 of 4, comes in on 4th down, also has a couple of quick kick punts. As Lynn Grohl mentioned, the Jackets kind of just working through, treating this game essentially like a scrimmage. So they'll go for it, as you've seen on some 4th downs. Corey Bennett leads them on the ground, 11 carries for 37 yards. Ryan Freeman, if you're into the overall statistics, you'll see he's 6 carries for -31. Of course, those are quarterback sacks, so that means also significant tackles for loss by the defense. Miko also 4 for -7. So the defensive front doing an excellent job for the Brits of getting the push. Jason Santora has 4 catches for 87 yards, including that 40-yard touchdown. And Brandon Hicks has 2 catches for 9. On the defensive side, the Britons have done a fantastic job on defense. Daryl McIntyre, has 4 tackles, including 1 for loss and a pass breakup. You have a bunch of players with 2 tackles. Going on to page 2 of the stats, Quentin Jackson leads the team with 6 tackles, and then Mitchell Aarons also has 5. A lot of guys, Jim, with tackles for loss. The Britons have done an excellent job getting the push, so we get ready to start the second half. Expect to see a little bit more of, say, the second team offense, I think, for the Brits.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think you'll start to see some new faces out there for the Britons as the third quarter rolls in. But they won't open up that way, as they will send back Marlon Martin and Isaiah Gibson back deep here to return this kick. A lot of Britons up close, expecting maybe an onside kick possibly. But this one will be kicked short and will be caught by the up guys at the 28, and out across the 32 comes the young man we were talking about, Darius Case, the tight end, as I work my way free of a ham and beef sandwich. For any of you who have ever worked a ball game like this, you normally don't get much to chomp on until the halftime rolls around. And then you get about 2 minutes to fire down what you would normally eat. Takes you back to your high school days, I guess.
I was going to say, you and I are broadcasting college, but we are not of college age, and we're forced to eat sometimes like college kids. And as you and I both know, we'll pay for that later this evening.
Kyle Thomas opens everything up with his calling his own number when he couldn't find anybody open, and he will get to the midfield stripe to open up the third quarter with a first down run that makes it 1st and 10 Brits right at midfield.
And we talked about the possibility of seeing second team. Well,
not
Kyle
yet.
Thomas still playing, so
Fake to Freeman, tosses the ball out in the flat to Poor. Poor is up the sideline, stiff arm at the 35, out of bounds at the 33.
And you ask yourself, as you'll see the replay of this play, Kyle Thomas running forward and then throwing a forward pass and thinking, how's that possible? Still behind the line of scrimmage when he completed it because he had started about 5 yards back, was able to run forward a little, still complete a forward pass and have it not be an illegal forward pass.
Freeman, again, the only young fella in the backfield for the Britons. And he's next to Thomas. Thomas will fake to Freeman, throw across the middle to Blanzy, but the ball just a little bit difficult to pull in. And the incompletion will set up a 2nd down and 10 for the Britons.
Blanzy on that nice slant pattern right there, Jim. Stalled just a moment at the very end right there. Had he run through that one, I think that wouldn't have been as much of an issue or a reach. But Blanzy kind of stutter-stepped there and ended up going off his fingertips incomplete.
Blanzy and Thomas to the top of your screen. They'll turn and they'll hand the ball off to Freeman. Freeman with a couple of quick cuts, and he'll be inside the 25 and move the sticks. So 1st down and 10 Brits. Other 2 wide receivers in to start this thing. Marlon Martin also over on this side along with 21 Colin Poor.
You see how difficult he is to bring down once he gets that those shoulders square.
Turn around, handoff again to Freeman. Again, Freeman finds some room heading straight up the middle of the field to the 20-yard line. He'll get about 4, and it'll be 2nd down and 6.
Freeman just such a strong runner, Jim. Again, he will stutter step and sidestep, but he knows how to get those shoulders square. And once you get those shoulders square, it's really tough to bring him down. You can't arm tackle him. You're going to have to just go low and hope for help cleaning up.
Trips go to the top this time. Martin, the only guy here on the bottom side. Thomas will keep it, roll, shovel pass up to Poor, and Poor will be close to the 1st down, but he'll step out of bounds at about the 17-yard line, and a late flag comes in after the whistle had blown. That offensive line for the Brits to open up the second half, the same that's been going all day long. Jared Jones at the left tackle spot, Jordan Jembarski at the left guard spot, Dan Barrett is the center, Chase Baljour is the right guard, and Elijah McKinney then the right tackle.
And also number 9, Chris Keys for the Jackets, Jim. Slow to get up on that play as the 6-foot junior comes off the field without assistance, jogs off, but
penalty's going to go against the Britons.
Oh. So that'll march it back. What was the call on that one, Jim? I didn't see.
Well, I didn't either. We'll have to see personal foul.
So it's a 15-yard penalty.
Probably a late hit out of bounds, more than likely. That play went off into the Brits sideline. And the walk-off will bring the ball clear back behind the 30-yard line to the 32. And set up a 2nd down now and long for the Britons. 18 as where they officially mark it and set it.
The ball will be marked at about the 32 when all is said and done. Bring up a 3rd and quite a bit.
See if the Britons can make that one happen here. Again, pistol look for the Britons. Thomas drops. He has some time. Now he'll roll towards the home sideline and launch one to the end zone for Martin, and it's an easy touchdown. Boy, that was some pretty touch. The difference between last year, Jim, and this year for this young quarterback, Kyle Thomas, showed up right there.
Yep, didn't panic, didn't try to run, bought enough time to give his receiver a chance to break free and watch his eyes. Always downfield, knows he possibly could take a shot from the defender, but Marlon Martin, excellent separation, good speed, and that's a lot to ask of the secondary on defense to cover for that long. So that's what a mobile quarterback can bring you. Buying time, and again, you said the maturity there, not just taking it and putting his head down and running. He kept his eyes down the field the whole time and was able to find the open man for 6.
Extra point is good for the 6th time this afternoon, and the Britons now with a 42-6 lead over the Defiance College Yellow Jackets. And some of the Yellow Jacket faithful already starting to get up and wander towards a cooler spot here in Defiance College this afternoon. And as you look across right now at the Britons bench and you see the faithful that have come down from Michigan and wherever to follow our Brits here this afternoon, kudos to all of them for coming down in their shorts and their warm weather gear, because it is a warm one out there today, but it is a You know, it's setting up to be a really nice Labor Day weekend.
Yep. And no snow in the forecast this weekend up in northern Michigan, so
it's always a
they don't
plus.
have to worry about driving up into a freak snowstorm or anything like that. Yeah, just a gorgeous weekend, nice 3-day weekend. Hope everybody has a great Labor Day and has a lot of fun this weekend.
Kendall Bryant loses the handle on the football at the 11, picks it back up, runs into a whole bunch of traffic, and then it gets stuck at about the 22-yard line.
I believe that was Will Bartow, number 43, the freshman, getting in there after he had a couple of different guys holding him up. He had probably the most fun you can have on special teams right there, just running in, just getting a stick without having to worry about wrapping up because he had two of the guys holding him there.
So it'll be 1st down and 10 now for the Yellow Jackets here, and I would think Logan Miko will be the quarterback again. He quarterbacked the last couple of series there for the Jackets as the first half came to a close, and the sophomore, number 1 from Grosse Pointe, comes out, and he'll be calling the signals here for the home team now. In the pistol, low snap, picks it up, throws, and completes to Jason Santora. And Santora will pull it in and step out of bounds right around the 28-yard line. So nice pickup of about 6, and it'll set up a 2nd down now and 4 for the Yellow Jackets.
Good concentration on the low throw. A lot of the passes have been low. But he did a good job not just going down to the ground to catch that one, being able to pick that one up off the turf and then being able to advance it a little bit.
Bennett in the running back with Miko, and Miko
nice
goes
route.
Again back to Santora and again hooks up right in front of the Defiance bench, and that'll be enough for the 1st down as they're at the 33, now make it the 34-yard line.
That was a beautiful shake route right there, Jim. Gave him the shoulder shimmying like he was going to stop and go, or an out and up, I guess, up the sideline there, and cut his route short just at the chains. A little bit of soft coverage enabled him to get the 1st down.
This pass will be a little bit too high for Dutch Blake to pull in front of the Briton's bench, and it'll set up a 2nd down and 10.
And you had the worst of both worlds right there if you're a Jackets fan, as you had Rayshawn Robinson not only closing in on the stick, but had that ball been a little bit farther inside, he was in stride to intercept.
They've got the Brits with David Akima at the left end spot right now. In the middle is Malik Bozell and Mitchell Aronson, who has had a pretty nice afternoon on the right end spot. Here comes the Britons. Miko going to run 40, kind of hop steps a little bit, and then out of bounds at about the 46-yard line. With a little push, he ends up in the Defiance College bench. And you'd have to believe that there's a good possibility that this young fellow knows a couple of the Britons, being a Grosse Pointe grad himself.
I don't know if you caught at the end of that run, Jim. There was a Yellow Jacket on crutches on the sideline, number 3, Brandon Knapp, if that is the correct number 3, who almost just got taken out. And you can see that left leg down there well bandaged, and that was almost catastrophic.
Miko again hooks up with Santora for about 7 yards on 1st down, right in front of Jacob Clark. Clark in the ball game along with Donovan Slates in the backfield. And let's see who else. Levi Ladd on the field right now for the Britons. Britons kind of playing a soft zone here against Defiance right now. They'll allow them to get that 6 or 7. Let that clock run just a little bit. Miko runs outside the pocket and then almost takes a big shot by Donovan Slates, but sees him coming and throws it away. It'll be 3rd down now and about 3 for Defiance College.
Receiver kept going downfield in that pattern. I think the quarterback was hoping he would break that off about 5 yards shorter right there, but just put it in a soft spot where the defender wasn't able to get it as well. So it harmlessly falls incomplete and brings up a manageable 3rd down with 11:10 to play, quarter number 3.
Rayshawn Robinson and also Josh Padelt basically wrap out the 11 on the defensive side of the ball there for the Britons right now. Miko throws it, little overthrown, almost picked off by Drew Schaefer, but actually the receiver, the intended receiver, gets out and breaks that completion up. See Cummings there come back and knock that away from Padelt as he was trying to pull it in just around the 22-yard line.
And all that ends up being, statistically speaking, is an incomplete pass. But if you could get a pass breakup credit on offense,
yeah,
that
there
was
you go.
absolutely what that was. He had to play defense right there, and he did a great job.
47 catches and 3 pass breakups on the season would be quite the stat line, wouldn't it, huh? Again, the hookup goes to Santora, and again, it will be he didn't pull it in. Thought he was going to have a first down on that 4th down try. That would have been the 9th time they've gone at it for the 4th down, and this time ball through Santora's hands, and the turnover gives the ball back to the Britons.
You had 11 purple shirts out there, Jim, staying on the field, hoping against hope that that was a completion, but the line judge on the Jackets side, toughest place if you're going to call an incomplete pass against Defiance College, right in front of their coaches, but did not survive the ground on that catch, and you get a turnover on downs. Britons ball.
Markel McCoy checks into the ball game here for the Britons now in the backfield. And we'll start, I'm sure, to see some new numbers as Kyle Thomas stays in at quarterback. Trips to the top, Marlon Martin right in front of us. They'll turn and fake to McCoy. Thomas will call his own number. He's across midfield, and he'll slide past the 45-yard line. They'll mark him down just shy of the 45, give him about 8 on the run. 2nd and 2 now for the Britons.
That's another thing that another year of experience will do for Kyle Thomas, Jim. Last year, he would have gone into the crowd and initiated contact and potentially gotten the ball stripped. Now he just slides, and, hey, it's 2nd and short.
Doubles on both sides, as this time it does go to number 23, and he's wrapped up for a loss of about a yard.
Got 3 different players on the stop right there, specifically 91 and 92. That'd be Percy Daniel and Rigo Villa. Good team effort on the stop for pretty much no gain. Brings up a 3rd and 3. 10-11 to play, quarter number 3.
Brits again with doubles to the top and the bottom.
On the friendly side of the 50.
And they bring Freeman back into the ball game. Toss is completed.
Wow,
I believe that was
concentration.
I think that was
Little Brother.
Little Brother again, number 1.
I don't know if we probably doesn't want us calling him Little Brother, though. I would guess.
We'll have to. Justin Thomas, how's that, huh? We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk to Big Brother Kyle Thomas, because I think in a situation like this, you defer to the older sibling. I believe that's
a fair point.
I think that's how that works.
Keeper
calls his own number and then tosses it away at the very end to his little brother, and they get about a yard, maybe 2 out of that one.
Keep calling him Little Brother.
I have a week. I can't talk to Kyle today.
That's a good point.
I can't walk down on the field right now, Jimmy.
And he's not going to want to
would you
stop.
let me call him Kyle, Little Brother? You know, what's your nickname for him? Whatever.
We
got a little rain coming in. Yeah,
all right.
All the umbrellas went up all of a sudden, and it wasn't for the sun, because the sun went behind the clouds.
If you go out running on the field to ask him that question, I think they're going to shoo you off the field and tell you to get back up in the press box. So,
junior Markel McCoy with a nice run for about 7 there on that one. It'll set up 3rd down and 3.
I'm going to venture to guess, though, that not a whole lot of people really care at this point about putting the umbrella up. I think it just feels good, that rain.
I think so. Not a heavy rain, just a very light sputter right now. 3rd down. Thomas will keep it. He's across the 30.
Way past the first down.
Defender and ends up with a 1st down close to the 26-yard line.
Albion, 1st down.
Yeah, he has, again, not necessarily the team that you're going to judge anything on today. Next week's going to be the game that we're going to get a real good yardstick, because, as Lynn said, Franklin down just a little bit, but what that means basically is they're just reloading a little bit.
Yeah.
Lost all their skill players from last year, but they do always have backups that are quite capable of stepping in and playing. So there will be a ball game next week as Thomas tries to thread the needle into Marlon Martin and almost completed it to a young fellow with a white helmet and a purple shirt. Incomplete, 2nd down and 10.
And reloading in their case also means a great team is probably just really good.
It is. It'd be a very good test.
Still going to be an excellent test and an excellent game, yes.
Very good test for these Brits here next week. And I can tell you personally, between Jim and I, we have never won a game against Franklin. We're looking forward to one next week. How's that? Handoff around the left side. And up the sideline goes Zach Servo, and Servo with a heavy hit down at the 15, and that Yellow Jacket still on the field right now. Pops his helmet off and rolls over. I think it's Steve Lewis, 30, I believe, as you see the replay. And Lewis on that stiff arm kind of took one. I think maybe he got a finger in the eye, because that
Yeah, because the stiff arm was, I mean, it was a good stiff arm, but it wasn't the kind that would immobilize you.
No, I think
like that. I think you're absolutely right.
I think that one got inside the helmet there and poked him in the eye, and hopefully everything's okay down there as he popped that helmet off right away. Trainer on the sideline looking at him as he's flat on the ground right there at the 15-yard line as the clock stops with 8:29 to play here, third quarter.
And Jim, we'll take a moment here while they're checking on that young man to ask you a question. What does it take to help Albion College change the world? One donor, one gift. Visit albion.edu and click on the Giving tab for more information. Also let folks know the Albion College Theater Department presents its first main stage production of the year in September. The curtain rises on Top Dog Underdog September 21, and the run continues through September 29. Encourage you to visit albion.edu or call 629-0344 for more information. Of course, on all fall sports, you can go to gobrits.com. Check out all the updates. We got updates from Bobby Lee earlier about cross country. Both the men and the women running very well today, and congratulations to both of those squads and the Briton's football team as well. Putting 42 on the board so far, midway through quarter number 3. They look like they're on their way to a 1-0 record.
Looks like the game has restarted. They're now 9:52 to play, second quarter between Kalamazoo and Oberlin. It's still a scoreless ball game on their live stats, and we'll go back and just see if we can get anything at all on that Finlandia game with Concordia. But they don't even have a stats hookup there on the MIA page.
So the stats were gone. The stream was gone.
Thomas rolls, throws, connects to Servo, and Servo hit immediately, but almost spun out of that tackle. He'll get about 3.
And Jim, what that tells me right there, that one play, is that tells me you have hunger on the Briton side and fatigue, I think, on the Jackets defense.
I think you're probably right, Jim, because this is a team, as Lynn Grohl talked about at the half, really only about 2 deep at any position.
And no scrimmages.
And no scrimmages, and most of those are freshmen, as they have about 60% freshmen on this football team. Straight ahead, the power game again for the Brits as Markel McCoy will be close to that first down. I think he'll be just a little short as he's across the 10 to about the 7. And he needs about a half a yard, I believe, to pick up that first down. So it'll be third down and short now for the Britons.
So you would think, therefore, that if the offense is in good shape, defense is starting to put its hand on its hips, that you'd want to keep just running it and let that offensive line just, impose their will, run the clock, run this game down. But just as soon as I say that, that's when they'll go and probably throw it 3 or 4 straight times. So I'm not a very good predictor of the offense.
There you go. 2 backs in the backfield, and they fake it to one of them and try to hit that little out pattern there on the sideline to Justin Thomas, and good coverage over there. Kyle Thomas put it where only his brother could get it, and neither he nor the defender had a shot at that. And with a fourth down situation now, we will try a field goal.
I want to say that was 33, Cody Drum Turner in coverage, and that was blanket coverage right there, Jimmy. Had a lot of hand fighting, but nothing that was knocking the receiver off his route. So just good coverage, no flag. Fourth down.
This will be about a 24-yarder, and the field goal will be good as
plenty of leg.
Yeah, ball ends up actually in the water pit on the track.
I don't see a bunch of people running to try to jump in that water pit to get the ball. So
you would think on a day like today somebody would be happy to go retrieve it from there. So the field goal makes it 45-6 now. And the Britons with a very easy afternoon here in Defiance. And I'll tell you, Jim, the one good thing about this game, the way the Brits preseason lines up, they had one scrimmage with another team, then they had the inter-squad scrimmage. For my money, that's not an awful lot of preparation against live talent. So to be able to have an opening game like this one where you do have another team that you got to play against, that's somebody that's not you, and you have to make some adjustments and you have to do some things that aren't what you do every day in practice. You wonder why you leave the first team in here late in this third quarter. They're just starting to get their groove on here right now, and they've got to be ready for a very tough test next week against Franklin. High kick goes to the 10-yard line.
This is
out
an
across
area that
the
needs
30.
improvement, Jim.
40. There's a flag down around the 25-yard line, and I think there might be a holding call that's going to bring this back. Nate Roberts with a nice return for the Yellow Jackets. But I believe this one's coming back, and instead of starting out here at the 48-yard line, I believe this is going to be somewhat closer to the 14-yard line when it's all over and done with.
So you made the tackle? Kicker.
No. Kicker did?
Yeah.
Those Blanzy kids, man, they've got to get their name called as much as they can, right?
Not shying away from, I mean, you get some of the kickers who kick it and then they just want to kind of put a little token pressure and, do a little matador action, but, credit him. He went in there and he threw his shoulder in, and he was not going to let that play progress any farther. Even if this one comes back, got to credit the kicker for being out there and making that stop.
You know what, and that is the amazing thing. We've been so fortunate to be part of this operation for the last 4 years, and it's going to be hard to honestly see our first class graduate at the end of this year. And both the Blanzys, both Sam and Brian Blanzy, are part of that class that are seniors this year that we got a chance to see play, and both of those guys got a lot of playing time in their first season with the Britons. Miko went under center. Now he lost the handle as he tried to hand it off, and the ball finally picked up by Defiance back around the 7-yard line.
That was Tanner Hughes, number 4, the senior. Kept his eye on that ball, and it's a good thing he did, too, because Miko lost the handle and never got it back.
It's
Big
amazing.
loss on the play.
It's amazing.
Good pursuit by the Britons defense, Jim.
Now we're starting to see some people. 59 Grant Evans in for the Britons right now in that defensive front. Also a couple of new faces alongside him, and we'll tell you about it. There he goes in the end zone.
Safety.
Is that a safety?
No, they're going to say forward progress at the 1.
They're going to give him the ball at about the half-yard line.
Which is correct. But
Elverson Mitchell, who last year was a running back for this football team, this year is a linebacker. And Elverson went out and deposited young Mr. Miko in the end zone, but they'll say he was, Jim, as you said.
Yep, forward progress.
Forward progress at about the 1/2-yard line.
And that was a beautiful blitz timed off the right side of the offense, left side defense. Elverson Mitchell came in untouched.
Darius Ballard, a freshman defensive tackle, in at the nose right at this point in time, as Miko tries to find his favorite target up the sideline, and it's a little too far and out of bounds. On the coverage is Bailey Camigo, a freshman out of Washington Township, Michigan. And again, now we're starting to see some new faces in this lineup for the Britons. Cole Hollenbach, also a safety out of Frankfurt, a sophomore in the ball game right now.
You'd have to think you'd punt this one, right?
You would, gosh, there he is.
I mean,
okay, Miko is in the end zone right now. You wouldn't give anybody the ball, I don't think, on the half-yard line, but
if you're going to do that, you might as well just snap it out of the end zone and take a safety.
Yeah, go from there.
Yep. At least you can control the line of scrimmage at that point.
Nobody back deep here for the Brits. Miko will kick this, and it's heading right towards the middle of the football field and about the 28-yard line. Very short kick. And the Britons will have the football there. Yeah, exactly.
It's better than the 1.
So 5:19 left to go in the third quarter. Now let's see if there's some changes in faces on this offensive side of the ball, or whether the first-team offense will come back out for another series or two before they hand over the keys to the bus.
I want to remind folks again, you're tuning in to today's broadcast. Shoot us an email at webcast@albion.edu. If you are a graduate of Albion College, let us know what year you graduated. And if you're a friend or a family member, one of the players, let us know who you're rooting for, and we'll do our best to give you a shout-out on the air today. And as always, we appreciate you watching. Go Brits.
Blanzy in a quarterback now for the Brits. So we have changed quarterbacks, and this one across the middle into Martin's hands, and he couldn't pull it in. No, that wasn't Martin. In fact, that was number 6, I believe, is who had that ball in his hands. That was Gibson, Isaiah Gibson. When I first looked, and Gibson had it hit him in the worst spot right there where it needed to be, and that was a beautiful pass by Blanzy. But Gibson juggled it a couple of times, thought he was going to come down with it in the end zone, but not able to control it. So several new faces, and we'll get you some updates here as we go as Gibson goes in motion. Turn and the handoff again to Zach Servo.
Still no Zarnecki.
Yeah, I don't know whether.
Wonder if he's a healthy scratch today.
Could be. We'll have to ask Bobby as the week goes on and see what happened there.
Don't know that it necessarily matters. I mean, 45-6.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Tyler Sykes also in the game, 83.
Have to think the rest of the season, and that's also, I think, why Kyle Thomas was out as long as he was, Jim.
Yeah, I agree.
Real game action.
Darius.
The season's only going to get tougher.
Case is the slot receiver to the top. But they'll go back to Gibson, and Gibson gets a block, cuts in the open field, and he's in for the touchdown. There is the elusiveness of Isaiah Gibson, the young fellow from St. Petersburg, Florida, the sophomore, and you watch the replay here and watch the blocking on top too, because they did a nice job. Case with a good job to lock him up, and watch Gibson sneak in between everybody, and then, nope.
The speed at the end.
I'm heading to the end zone.
Yep. Kept those shoulders square towards the end zone right there, and even though he was doing a good job of sidestepping and motioning around, he always kept his body square to the end zone, so he's able to turn on the jets and get in untouched. Beautiful route, beautiful run.
Fabry with the extra point, and now on the afternoon he is 7 for 7, along with a field goal of 24 yards, and so it's been a very good start to the year for him.
Yeah, a lot of fantasy points today.
Yeah, exactly. If you had a D3 fantasy football team today, you were hoping that he would be your kicker this afternoon, I'm sure.
Well, if I did, he would be my kicker. And I would be way ahead right now.
4.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter, and I'm sure the Brits now are going to be very happy. Although, you know, there's that double-edged sword right now, Jim. You got your second team in, and you'd like to get them to run your offense. And running your offense is just not handing it off to the halfback and letting him go off tackle all afternoon.
No.
So as you saw right there, you know, Sam Blanzy steps back in the pocket and fires it down the field. Couple running plays, couple passing plays, and it's just an incumbent upon the home team here to be able to slow them down if they possibly can. And for the Brits, it's a good afternoon to be able to get some playing time for guys who don't normally get a lot of playing time. Nate Roberts again on the return. He's across the 20, and now the rain picked up a little bit in intensity. It's coming down pretty good.
Michael Martin, 39, the junior on the stop on special teams. And, yeah, I don't know why people even bother to put the umbrellas up.
Not on a day.
I mean, as warm as it's been, this is, I mean, like you wait for something. Of course, I'm sitting under cover, and I'm not getting rained on. I probably wouldn't feel the same way if I were out there, but I just think it probably feels pretty good.
I would think it probably would as well. You know, Joe Webb, the running back, now in for Defiance. He's in that single back spot. Miko in at quarterback. The rain picks up in intensity. Around the right end on that jet sweep comes Wyatt Cadmus, and he'll be knocked out of bounds. It really is one of those days where the big black clouds are just above us right now, but they're going to move on quickly because there's a whole bunch of blue sky and white clouds around them, and it's just...
It looks almost like Hollywood, like special effects, but I assure you, this is not Hollywood trickery.
It's coming down pretty good right now. But it's only going to last for a couple of minutes, and then it's going to go away. Second down now and 7 for Defiance. Counter, Webb on the carry, and he'll have a half a dozen or so. We'll set up a third down and short now for Defiance College.
Your windows up?
Yeah, the windows, I believe, are up. I hope so. I know the sunroof closes automatically. How's that?
Go.
That part I know.
There you go.
And the rain's coming straight down, so if there are windows open, it's not going to. And now the rain, just as fast as it came, is turned off immediately. It's like somebody turned the faucet off all of a sudden here. Handoff again comes to Webb, and Webb will have the first down just barely as he crosses the 35 to about the 35 and a half. And everybody who is now soaking wet.
They're laughing about it now.
Yeah, they thought, man, you know, we were awful hot, and that just kind of cooled everybody down right now. And everybody applauding the rain and the ending of the rain as well. Miko again at the pistol. Draws back. Here comes pressure. Steps away from it. And then he sees more, and he goes down at the line of scrimmage, basically.
Right there, you had Nolan Rawlings, 38, who's coming in for a blindside hit at the end, and Miko did an excellent job of just getting down, getting back to the original line of scrimmage and not taking that big hit.
So it'll be second down and still 10, 2.5 minutes and counting in the third quarter, and the Brits on top 52-6 in what has been a very easy ball game, an easy Saturday afternoon start to this 2018 season. We'll be with you again next week. 1 o'clock game against, or 6 o'clock game against Franklin next week. I'm sorry. And the pass a little bit short there, heading for Wyatt Cadmus, and Cadmus where he wanted to be and open, but the ball just didn't get to him. So that'll stop the clock with 2:18 to play third quarter and bring up a third down now and 10.
Impressed, though, with Miko's footwork, Jim.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of pressure coming in from the sides. He's doing an excellent job of stepping up in the pocket rather than just taking off and running. So you can see there's discipline to stay in the pocket and be a pocket passer, and he's doing everything he can to keep those plays alive.
Miko played all last year for these guys. Got here a little bit late as he throws this one, launches it down the field, and incomplete. Both players going for the ball underthrown. Waiting for somebody to pull a hanky out of their pocket, but I think wisely did not, because really that ball 5 yards behind everybody, and the collision happened as both the offensive and defensive player were going back for the football. So good situation, brings up fourth down now and 10 for Defiance College, and as we have seen all afternoon, well, Miko has been the
He's been
kicker.
the de facto punter, yeah.
So, you don't really know what you have right now.
Cole Hollenbeck, 34 in coverage on that last play, Jim. You're absolutely right that ball being a little underthrown from where the players were, they both had to adjust, and that contact's just going to happen sometimes.
Here comes the rush. Miko steps to his right, now rolls to his right, and here comes the Britons. And Miko will not get back to the line of scrimmage. As a nice job there by the Will Bartow. As Bartow realized that Miko had no place to go, came up, wrapped him up, dropped him for about a yard loss, and it'll be first down and 10 for the Britons again, as they'll have the ball inside the 35-yard line of Defiance with 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter.
James McCrae, watching from Charlotte, Michigan, class of 2011, loves the broadcast and loves seeing the Brits roll. Doesn't Kyle Thomas look like a young Dom Bona?
Oh, wow. You know
Those
what?
are some strong words, but today, yeah. Today, yeah. He's looking fantastic today.
Giving you that look, there's no doubt. And again, Dom Bona was the senior quarterback when we started these broadcasts 4 years ago.
Those are some serious shoes to fill right there, but he's, give him time.
I still remember the track meet that started this whole thing off, and I'm still trying to catch up from 4 years ago after that first afternoon. Doing my first Brits game when that thing just went back and forth all afternoon.
50-something or 50-something to whatever. It was
60-something to 50-something. You're right.
110 points. Jeez,
and about 1,200 yards of total offense.
Look at the speed.
Touchdown. Yeah, no problems right there.
Oh, stepped out at the one.
Isaiah Gibson.
He's probably lucky that that they marked him out at the one, because he lost the handle as he was going across the goal line right there.
You think this young fella's going to be fun to watch over the course of the next couple of years?
I'd like to see him involved more in the return game.
I think you're going to see more of him as the time goes on, no doubt.
Because he has gears that most people just do not have.
Turn, handoff.
Oh, was that Zarnecki?
I think that was Zarnecki there. I believe that I saw one going down. I believe that was 11. Yep, there he is.
Tackled high right there. I mean, on defense, going by so fast, you grab whatever you can grab. It looks like grab him by kind of the back of the neck and pulled down. You saw that head snap down right there.
So Pat Zarnecki in the game here, the lone running back. 3 receivers in front of us here on the Defiance side, and a single guy to the top, and they'll give it right back to Pat again, and Pat will try the interior of that yard, and it's good for a touchdown. Good push out of the inside of that offensive line, and Zarnecki just stuck his head right in the middle of that whole pile and rode the wave all the way into the end zone. So the Brits now at 58 with the extra point coming, and 37 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And this is a game almost now that in the third quarter, I'm sorry, in the third quarter. Sorry, man, I'm projecting myself into the future here again. Third quarter.
Start calling you Doc.
58-6. Extra point.
37 seconds left in our third period of play. Albion 59.
Is good now to 59-6. I was having to work myself. I was 15 minutes into the future. I had to bring myself back in, so I missed that extra point for a minute. 59-6, Briton's on top in a cakewalk here in Defiance College this afternoon.
Don't let Biff get the scorebook, Jim.
I'll try not to.
Book. Bobby Lee sends us an update on Albion College volleyball. The Albion College volleyball team completed its first weekend of competition with a 3-set loss to the University of Chicago. That was 25-11, 25-16, 25-18. Maria Pregenzer led Albion with 7 kills. Kelsey Gustafson had 6, Chloe Weber with 5, and Taylor Rosenthal had 4 with 3 block assists. So they have a 1-2 record. We'll enjoy a day of sightseeing in Chicago tomorrow, and then they're coming home against Defiance Wednesday at 6:30.
Back deep again is Roberts, waiting at the 5. He'll run towards his right to field this one. It'll bounce past him and roll into the end zone. And the touchback will give Defiance the football. First down and 10 at the 25-yard line. Just 37 ticks left in this quarter, Jim, but I'll tell you, 59 points.
Pretty good afternoon so far.
Pretty good afternoon is right. And kind of right in stride with some of the other guys that in the conference. You know, this past Thursday, Baldwin Wallace beat Alma 63-21, but Trine rolled all over Manchester, also of the HCAC, the same conference that Defiance is in, 55-7. And then last night it was Milliken over Hope, 25-21.
Fumble.
Ball's loose. Ball's picked up by Harvey. Brits, 40-yard line, reverses his field.
Still going backwards.
45-yard line.
But
and that's where the ball will be placed, and the Britons offense will come back out onto the football field. Nice run. Only one mistake. Didn't hang on to the pigskin there.
Good strip, and you see he's at the 35. And then the backward trek begins. We're 5 yards back. Now we're 7. We're going on 10 yards back. But
Michael Harvey, the senior out of Oak Park, he had 4 interceptions last year, if you remember, Jimmy, and 2 of them went to the house, if you remember that season that Michael Harvey had last year. Yeah. So this defense, the secondary especially, very veteran bunch, as Zarnecki gets the call again, and he'll get about 4 on first down, and that'll bring us to the end of the quarter.
And I want to say, Jim, that if you're looking at the score of this one and thinking you're going to see this every week, not necessarily. It's an excellent confidence builder for this Britons team, but again, as Lynn mentioned at halftime, the Jackets, I would think are kind of treating this like one of their scrimmages. So that's why you see them going for it on fourth down so many times. It's why you see some of the things that they're doing. It's fairly limited so far, and then the coach will continue to implement the offense. He's only been here for a very short period of time, so it's a lot to ask of a team to say, okay, we'll all just kind of show up on Saturday and we'll do all right. So don't put too much stock in the Britons putting 59 on the board through 3 quarters, but look at it as the offense is executing regardless of what the defense is showing them for Defiance. The offense is executing. They're hitting some big plays on the ground, hitting some big passing plays. You're seeing new chemistry develop between the Thomas brothers, and you're just seeing new weapons on offense, which makes them multi-dimensional and tougher to stop and to game plan for. And the fact that you see Zarnecki as the 3rd running back option today doesn't mean that he's necessarily number 3 on the depth chart. It just means game plan wise, you're gonna kind of go through, and Zarnecki is gonna be a valuable piece of the offense, down the road, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks down the road. So don't read anything into that either, I wouldn't say.
You want to know what that means? You've got some really good running backs on this football team this year. That's the good news. As Zarnecki again gets a little workout. Down inside the 35, close to the 33. Breaks a couple of tackles and
loses a helmet there.
Yep. And let's think a little bit about this season, the way it's going to roll out. Next week, the Brits will be home versus Franklin at 6 o'clock. Then they go on the road for a couple of weeks. In fact, Concordia on the 15th, which will be a 2 o'clock game, and then they've got a bye week on the 22nd. Again, Zarnecki up the middle. He doesn't have the football, and I think Defiance College has it now.
Recovered by
And then you go from who is number 50 for the Jackets there? They've got a backup as well, Jimbo.
Number 50 is Mike King, freshman linebacker.
Mike King there with the turnover, with the pickup of the ball. So let's get back to the schedule then. On the 29th, they'll be at Alma for a 2 o'clock kick. And then the first week of October, homecoming against Hope. That'll be a 1 o'clock game. The following week, they'll be home with Kalamazoo. The week after that, they'll be at Adrian on the 20th of October, and the 27th, they will be at Trine. And then they'll wrap up the season, and that will be here way too quickly. Finlandia comes in for a noon game on the 3rd day of November, and Olivet will round it up in week number 10 for the Britons. So it should be an interesting season for the Brits. Handoff really goes right up the middle for Webb, and Webb doesn't get very far as he's wrapped up and dropped pretty quickly.
Chase Knopp, number 45 on the stop right there. The freshman getting a lot of playing time, especially here in the second half, and making the most of it too.
Gotten away from our 2 deeps right now, and we're all the way down to just pulling out the roster and grabbing names. 39 is Michael Martin. He's also in the game right now, the junior linebacker. This throw, a little bump, and you're going to get a little interference there in the backfield here on Hayden Baker. Baker with just a little bit of a bump, probably wish he'd had that back, and once he looks at the video of this one here this next week, if he'd just run with the receiver, that ball thrown well out of bounds. But little contact at the 40 will cause the call and result in a first down here for the Yellow Jackets.
So that'll keep the drive going as we're 14:01 to play in the contest.
Let's see, who else out there? Cole Hollenbach is number 34. He's out on the field right now. Hayden Baker that we just talked about.
Babacar Diop, number 79, freshman.
Ralph Gaston, number 18 in the ball game at this point in time. Pressure on Miko, forced to throw it away a little quicker than he wanted to, going towards Webb. Ball off target, and that'll bring up a 3rd down now for the Jackets, 3rd down and 10.
I have to think that was a design screen right there because they had multiple rushers with no hands on them getting to the quarterback, but unable to complete that pass. And I think even if they did, Jim, you had enough of the that's one of the benefits of a 3-4 is if you get a D lineman shooting the gap like that and getting to the quarterback, you still have linebackers and maybe secondary up and run pass support ready to stop that one.
Miko drops. Now he's in trouble, and he'll go down for the loss. And another number I was just trying to get to, that's 79, and you just called him.
Babacar
Diop.
Yep.
Brings up 3rd down for the Yellow Jackets.
56 is Jacob Molitz, M-O-L-I-T-Z.
They're Mullets, one of the two.
One of those two.
Webcast at albion.edu.
There you go. Let me know if his uncle's out there or his mom or whoever. Give us a good pronunciation on that one.
Yep. We want to get it right.
We definitely want to get it right, and it's good to see all these young guys getting some time here on this Saturday afternoon. Here comes the blitz again. Time running out. Miko's going to throw that one away.
In the area of a receiver, though, so no grounding. But, man, that has been a constant all day long is that pressure from the defensive front. The Britons' defense has just been getting after that quarterback.
Martin that time and Knopf were the two guys applying the heat. And that'll bring up 4th down now. 4th down and about 14. Miko back deep, looking like he's probably going to kick it. Yes, he did. Nobody back deep for the Brits as this ball will bounce across the 20 and roll towards the sideline, out of bounds at about the 9. 1st down and 10 for the Brits. Just about 13 minutes left to go in this contest. Brits have this one really locked up, and it's been locked up for a while, 59-6. Early on, Jim, it looked like maybe it was going to be a ball game, especially after the Brits scored a couple touchdowns, and then Yellow Jackets able to put a score on the board when they hooked up with that nice catch by Jason Santora. But that was it, man. They missed the extra point, and from that point on, they've not even come close to the end zone past that.
Yeah, they had that procedure penalty that backed them up 5 yards, and the extra point dinged off the left upright, and that's pretty much how the afternoon is gone for the Jackets. Briton's defense has been smothering. The offense has executed well. Zarnecki had that fumble on the last possession, but I mean, really, it's been a pretty clean game for the Britons of Albion.
Colin Cox this time with the carry as Blanzy at quarterback still. Cox in for Zarnecki. Obviously, after that fumble, more than likely, coaches have a way of taking you out and talking to you after those kind of things, even when you are late. Ball thrown a little bit behind, tipped up in the air, almost intercepted by the Jackets. Intended for Case.
And that was 25 Bryce. Oh, no, it can't be Bryce Cooley. Bryce Cooley is listed as a tight end, but he was the 25 who was out there, so.
Never can tell with this group, you know, that at this time in this year, you might have been a linebacker. You might have been a linebacker last year or a tight end last year, and you're a linebacker this year. You never can tell. Fake the handoff. Gibson with the pitch. He gets the block. Coming up the sideline, boy, he was going to make a cut, and he couldn't quite get into that cut at the 23-yard line. If he could have planted that right foot that was taken out from underneath of him, we may have seen something special on that one, because if he could have planted it, he was going to cut that bad boy across the grain, and there was nothing but green grass in front of him.
Jake Hastings, 31, just threw that hand out and got a tackle right there, and that, you're right, that was the only thing that stopped him from still being off to the races.
If he didn't grab that ankle right there and not allow him to plant that thing, he was going a long ways. They're going to go the other side to him now. Gibson again, 30, 32, 33-yard line before they tumble him down. That'll be close to a first down.
You give him a lot of work, Jim, and on the quick outs and things like that. What they're really doing is they're giving him the ball in space to see what he can do, and that, to me, just screams return game. You get him in the punt returns and the kick returns, and you talk about having the ball in space with everything as an option.
Yes.
Ooh,
well,
it's going to be exciting to watch if they decide to go that way.
Jimmy, they had him listed as one of the punt returners today, but how many punts have we seen?
Actually, we've seen, what, a handful?
Yeah, but they've all been quick kicks from the quarterback. You know,
yeah,
they've really never lined up in punt formation and said, okay, guys, we're going to punt this away to you. Put your guy back there deep, and we'll kick it to him. It's always been the quarterback, Miko, who's lined up back there in that shotgun look where he could throw it or he could kick it. So we go without a deep safety there as the Brits pick up the first down. And so you've really not had that opportunity, but it's a very observant call on your end. And I think next week against Franklin, when we have more of a traditional look coming out of the Grizzlies, you're going to probably see him back there with the opportunity to possibly return one or two.
I hope so. Boy, he's electric with that ball.
Clock is moving now. Play clock down to 6, and I think the Brits will probably let it roll as far as they possibly can before they get this thing going again.
Cut.
Nice job again by the Britons, and that's number 8, Cullen Cox again, and Cox gets around the left end. He'll get about 7, almost 8 before they finally knock him down, and it looked like he was going down in the backfield if you saw the replay.
Exactly. Unless that left foot, saying he was stepped out about 2 yards shy, but he had like a 59-6, and he's diving for the first down mark. I love the effort.
Well, I think, you know, what you've seen with this team, and if you've been around the team as we have for the last 4 years, the last couple of, especially last year, there was conversation out of the coaches that they wanted this team to get a little more energized. They brought a strength training coach in for the off-season work, as Blanzy calls his own number. He's got the first down into Yellow Jackets territory. And there was just this attitude around the school from everything I was hearing from Bobby and all the folks that I get to associate with every now and then that, you know, Coach said, hey, this is year number 22. We didn't play like Britons last year or the year before necessarily. It's time to step this thing back up and get this moving again. And they are doing exactly that as they open things up again against the Defiance team that has an awful lot of things going against them this afternoon. But, you know, they're out here in helmets and pads just like we are.
Yep.
And we're playing just a little bit better here this afternoon. Again, up to Gibson at the top. And he'll get up the sideline for a half a dozen before they knock him out of bounds. That'll stop the clock as Lucas knocks him out of bounds with
injured Defiance College player Jimbo. Gets 62. That'd be Quantrez Pittman, the freshman.
Thought he was going to get up and got up to one knee and then just went tumbling right back.
Make you wonder if that isn't a leg cramp.
Yep, could be. Coupled with a whole lot of tired right now, more than likely.
Yeah.
He's been going up against some pretty competition here this afternoon. We'll try to get some of these backup linemen as well, Jim, as we get back into action right now. You know, the one thing that we talked about early on, and we hit on it in the pregame show, and I think we want to talk about it right now, and that is our coach, man, and the abilities that man has had. 22 years now, and boy, I'll tell you what, he is in the process right now of tracking down some of the great coaches from all time in the MIAA. 22nd year now for Coach Rundle, and also working his way towards not only the most seasons. That's Ray Smith from Hope, has 25 years with Hope from 70 to 1994. Coach Rundle with 21 years. He's tied with Dean Krebs and Jim Cole from Alma. And then Dale Sprankle, if you remember that name. I think there's a stadium somewhere named after that young fella. He's in the number 2 spot with 22 seasons. So Coach right now about ready to tie Dale Sprankle at the end of this one for being the number 2 coach in the history of MIAA for the most seasons coached at one school, or coached basically in the MIAA. Coach Rundle also has some other things that are going as they hand this football off and not going very far. And again, it's Colin Cox, number 8. He gets knocked down. But Coach also most wins in the MIAA, most MIAA wins. He's got 84 of them. That's tied with Dean Krebs from Hope, and only 7 shy of Ray Smith. And then also most MIAA championships, Craig Rundle with 7 of them. He's behind only Pete Schmidt and Ray Smith of Albion and Hope, respectively there. And that Schmidt guy has also been kind of well known around Albion, Michigan as well. Again, the handoff, and this will be enough for the first down as the Britons starting to get some good work out of Colin Cox here this afternoon as well. So the first down keeps the sticks moving, keeps the clocks moving at 8:08 to play in the ball game.
Ryan Roberts subs in at running back as the Britons, as you said, move the chains. We dip down to 8 minutes to play in the contest.
At the end of this one, we'll give you a quick post-game show, update you on all the stats, and wish you a good Labor Day weekend, send you on your way to the holiday. And hopefully your holiday weekend will continue to be as good as what this football game was for all Britons fans that have been watching us this afternoon.
Short run on first down. You see a no huddle in technicality, but not the hurry up no huddle that we're used to, because I think at this point, while you do want them to execute the offense, again, you're thinking 10-game season, and yet you want to execute, but again, 10-game season.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's no rush at this point.
Nope, I think you're going to probably try the senior quarterback right now, Sam Blanzy, going to watch that play clock, which is just in front of him to his right, and try to take as much time as he can as Roberts gets the handoff again off the right side.
That was an impressive run right there, Jim.
Yeah.
Because he ran into a very stout defensive line and a big number 50. That's Mike King, the freshman linebacker. And he pushed him backwards. That was an impressive finish on that run.
So the clock now under 7 minutes to play in this ball game. The sun back out. The rain has stopped, and everybody, I think, has dried off because of the sun and the heat. And it's 6.5 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. We're working our way to our first win of 2018 and looking forward to next week when the Franklin Grizzlies will join us up in Albion, Michigan. Oh, a toss and a little interference and a little wraparound reach there that came out of that yellow jacket there as he saw he'd been beaten. As you can see him there, just make a little bit of a grab.
Philip Franklin, number 6, in coverage right there, in the ball. Went right through the hands, yeah.
Tyler Sykes was the fellow that the pass was intended for, and Sykes kind of got a little turned around on that toss.
Oh, ineligible downfield. I was going to say we have to have offsetting penalties. Because the one penalty was thrown down at the contact point inside the 10, but those penalties will offset, and we'll replay the down. Keep it as 3rd and 5 with now 6:17 to play in the fourth quarter.
Pass interference against Defiance. Penalties offset. Replay 3rd down.
So Sam Blanzy still in at quarterback right now. Robertson at the halfback spot. There'll be trips to the top. And we'll see if they'll go back to that running game to try to drain this clock a little bit more. Yes. Nope, fake the handoff to Roberts, and Blanzy calls his own number. Still a running play, and Blanzy will be about 2 yards shy of the first down.
I like the way Blanzy finishes his runs too, Jim, as a taller and maybe a little bit stronger quarterback in the legs. He's just going to lean that big body forward, and he is just going to push at the end of those runs, and he initiates the contact, so he's not really absorbing a heavy hit. And then once he's leaning forward, it's really difficult to knock him back, so he's using all of that frame to try to get as much as he can in each carry.
John Lewis, the wide receiver, to the top of your screen right now. Case in the slot up on the Albion sideline. Doubt that they're going to throw the ball much to them anymore, as they'll hand the ball off to Roberts again, and he'll come up a little short on fourth down. And the ball will go over and downs to the Yellow Jackets of Defiance College with 5:28 to play in the ball game. Yeah, I think all in all, Coach Rundle and his guys probably happy with this afternoon and this bus trip they made from Albion, Michigan, as you said, about an hour and a half down the turnpike. That is
first and 10, Defiance.
The trip that you bring from the back roads of Albion to the back roads of Ohio down to Defiance. If you want to call it a turnpike, you might see a horse and buggy every now and then on some of the roads that we'll travel down through here.
I will say this, though, Jim, one of the areas that Coach Rundle cannot be too happy about is the kickoff coverage unit.
Yes.
Special teams is something that they've made all their field goals and extra points today.
Hicks, the ball carrier.
Haven't really had to punt a whole lot, but that's been pretty stout. But it's the kickoff coverage units. We see an injured Yellow Jacket on the field. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Need to get a number here, and we'll get that momentarily.
Brandon Hicks was the young guy that was running the ball. I'm not sure whether that's the fellow on the field or not. I'm looking for a 29 out there, and I don't see one. That's why I initially wondered if it was him, and I think that is who it is.
But he got a shoulder stinger.
Yep, up and going, and that's not a problem now. His trainer came over to him, but he was up off the carpet and on his way towards the huddle, and she's still trying to track him down.
It's my job to come out here and check on you.
Yep. Other side, I think, early on, Jim, and it improved as the afternoon went on, but I think the other side that they'll be talking about this week is the tackling early, because early in this ball game, there were several times, and maybe it's just getting the rust knocked off of you because it is the first week of the season. But early in the ball game, the Brits had some troubles, especially bringing down Corey Bennett, who had a pretty nice start to this ball game for Defiance College when the ball game started. So I will bet you they'll talk tackling as the week goes on, and as you said, special teams, kick and punt return teams probably the same way. And a late flag comes out. I don't know what this one's going to be, but we'll see. It was thrown clear on the other side of the field.
Penalty marker down on the play.
Line judge clear on the other side at about the 32-yard line. As this play was ending, pulled out his flag and dropped it on the ground at about the 33, and then came running over to talk to everybody. And let's just see what it is.
Sideline warning against Albion.
Oh, sideline warning. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense then. Oh, and now
somebody just said something they weren't supposed to say.
I'm not sure whether that was Craig Rundle or who it was over there, but somebody went up and had a little conversation with the head linesman over there who had dropped that flag, and all of a sudden the flag came out of his pocket again.
Yep, and this one went even higher than the first one.
It did, man, and I don't know. Unsportsmanlike conduct, and I believe that
was Coach Rundle.
I think that was the coach that was the one that was over there, and I'm not exactly sure. He's still talking over there. He's getting his money's worth right now. You know what?
You can't keep throwing the flag. You can only do it the one time. So now he can carry on that conversation probably about as long as he wants.
Now we can have the discussion that we really wanted to have there that we almost had before you threw that flag on me.
Now that I have a moment, let me finish this thought.
Jet sweep coming around the corner, but Brits are right there for it. And that's Camigo that was there to make that stop. And that play is one I'm sure that the Jackets are trying to get run. It's an easy play to run. You know what I mean? It's not something that you have to practice a lot on. It's not something you have to work a lot on. As Lynn told us here, these guys only have like 20-30% of their playbook in these kids' heads right now. So that's why we've seen that jet sweep so many times today. but it has really not been successful all day long past the first time or two when the Brits made their adjustments and then pretty much stymied that jet sweep the rest of the afternoon. 4 minutes to play now as Hughes runs the ball right up the middle for a yard. Third down at about 6. Ballard on the stop there for the Britons. And we're going to work our way towards win time. And what you got planned for the rest of the weekend, Jimmy? Anything special? Cookouts, anything like that?
Air conditioning.
AC.
Having fun with the family.
There you go. A couple of youngsters around the Bellamy house that he's going to get to play with for the weekend. This is going to lose a couple of yards as the Britons all over this sweep again.
Wyatt Cadmus on the carry, brought down by Chase Knopf.
You know, Chase Knopf's had his name called quite a bit here this afternoon for his the second team play that he's been making here today, and it's very impressive to see these Brits so far. They do look a little quicker today than what we saw last year. Again, the judge and the yardstick will be coming into play next week when we see a team in Franklin that is picked to be the champion in this conference that the Yellow Jackets are in, and has been the champion for a while.
There he is again.
Look at this thing, man.
Chase Knopf again.
I can tell you this, Ray Freeman and Logan Miko both have not been happy back in that pocket all afternoon long. They have been running for their lives, and with that, the ball goes over on downs, and the Britons will have it back with under 3 minutes to play and the ability now to run this clock out to 0. Yeah, so it'll be a good one. 6 o'clock, a late start next week for that ball game. Always the home opener, played right there at the edge where you start it all in daylight and you end it under the lights, and it's always fun to play that game that way, and we expect another shootout. We've had a few of them there. Wabash, that game, oh my gosh, what a contest that one was. Game against Stevens Point to open everything up, that was fun. Brits ahead for about 5 yards there. Make it 4, and again, it's Edwards again on the run.
On the tackle, brings up second down for Albion.
Or Colin Cox, I'm sorry, on that run. Second down and about 6 to go now for the Brits as they will really take their time. 19 seconds on that clock, and you can see they're just standing and waiting. They will snap this thing deep into this play clock and try to get out of here as quickly as they possibly can. Handoff goes the same direction. And again, Cox is able to step out of 2 or 3 tackles, heads up the sideline, and about the only thing he didn't do that we'd like to see him do is he stayed on the field of play. He stepped out of bounds to stop the clock, but he got the first down. So Brits now with a new set of 4, and now you think that maybe it's time to take a knee.
And things are never as good or never as bad as they are, at the end of a game. So you look at 59-6 and you think, wow, can't do anything better than you did today. And truth is that it's never as good or never as bad as what you see in the final score. So, if you talk to Coach Rundle, I'm sure this week he's going to find plenty of things to praise the team about, but he's also going to find plenty of things that you'll see as room for improvement. So, this is just game 1. It's a long season ahead.
Ball gets thrown and caught, and I think that's Dylan DeYoung.
We have a new quarterback also, 17.
Yeah.
Steve Secchia, sophomore.
Secacia, I think is how Bobby said that was pronounced, I believe, the other day. Secacia, I believe.
Seccia, so we'll call him Steve.
There you go, Steve S.
Big Steve with the completion there. But yeah, again, just whoever's out there, you're going to call in the play like you normally would. You're going to execute the offense, and sometimes that's you want to run the ball as much as possible as we're down to about a minute to play. But every once in a while, you are going to need to still put that ball up in the air. Just that's the offense coach is telling you to execute, so execute it.
That's what you're going to do. Well, and again, you let it was a pass that wasn't thrown in the end zone at any stretch, but the Brits now on their third team.
Basically a screen.
If you're going to be the
brought down by.
If you are going to be the guy on the field, no matter what the time, no matter what the score, you're one to catch the eye of the coach.
Exactly.
So
this is playing time for next week,
and that's going to do it here. As The Brits are going to bring in
Have to run one more play.
They brought a whole new team out on this football field right now.
Kind of have to run the fire drill, too. As up, they're bringing Thomas back out to take a knee, so this must be the first team offense. Yep, this is the first team offense coming back out to finish what they started.
There you go. And that's exactly what they did. And with 10 seconds left, the clock will wind to 0, and the Brits will leave Defiance, Ohio, with a 59-6 win here against the Yellow Jackets, and they will open up the season 1-0 in a very impressive way to start everything.
Thank you for attending and supporting Defiance College Athletics.
Yeah, that was a good afternoon of football here for the Britons. It really was a fun way to open up the ball game to come down here and get this all underway. And next week we'll be home to take on Franklin. See if we can get up real quick and grab some stats.
I have some stats if you want to check some scores.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll look scores, you do stats.
Team stats, 32 first downs for the Britons compared to 15 for Defiance College. Third down efficiency, Britons 8 of 15, and they held the Jackets to 3 of 19. Fourth down efficiency, 2 of 3 for the Britons, and 3 of 12, 25% for the Jackets. Again, not a whole lot of punting going on. Both teams ended up running 85 plays. And, Jim, here's a stat that you'll love. 600 total yards for Albion compared to 194 for the Jackets. That's 390 through the air compared to 159. And on the ground, you had 210 yards for the Britons, 35 net rushing yards for the Jackets. Time of possession pretty even. Jackets held at 29:50. Compared to leads the team 6 catches for 110 yards and a score. Justin Thomas 6 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Colin Poore had 6 for 50, and Marlon Martin and Darius Case each scored a touchdown for the Britons as well. Looking at the Defiance College Yellow Jackets, Brian Freeman 9 of 24 for 126 on the score, and Logan Miko 5 of 17 for 33 yards through the air. The leading ground gainer on the day was Corey Bennett, 11 carries for 37 yards. Tanner Hughes had 2 for 21, and Webb and Blake each had 10 yards apiece. For the receivers, Santora 7 catches for 106 yards and 1 touchdown. He was an absolute stud today for the Jackets. Probably the one bright spot they had really on offense. DeMarcus Cummings 1 catch for 15. And Dutch Blake 1 for 13. Cadmus also had 2 catches for 13 yards. So excellent offensive showing, 600 total yards for the Britons in victory, and they win this one going away 59-6 for an excellent week number 1.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm trying to get up on the Finlandia website, and nothing is coming up. All I'm getting is their logo, so I do not have a score for you in that game with Concordia, Wisconsin versus Finlandia. But I do have a third quarter score here with KZoo and Oberlin, and Kalamazoo is up 14-0 over Oberlin in the third quarter. And so the finals that we know right now in the MIAA, the Brits win big here this afternoon. Also, last night it was Milliken beating Hope 25-21. Thursday night, Tryon beats Manchester 55-7. And Baldwin Wallace over Alma 63-21. Great afternoon of football. We really enjoyed it. We thank all the folks here at Defiance College for welcoming us in this afternoon and being such great hosts and taking care of us. And with that, I guess I'll wrap everything up on my end. We'll be back with you next week against Franklin at 6 o'clock here on the Briton Sports Network. And Jimbo, why don't you take us to the house?
All right, for complete details on today's game as well as all other news and notes on the Britons Fall Sports, visit GoBrits.com. Our thanks to the crew here today for braving the sun and for Ken Rieker making it all happen here in the booth. And want to thank you, Jim Funderburg, for excellent game on play-by-play as well. And everybody made this broadcast today possible. This was a production of FJ Productions and Richer Productions for the Briton Sports Network. And we want to thank you, as always, for watching Albion football. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great holiday weekend.